Hey there, friend. Come sit with me for a while. Tonight, we drift back through time. Not to a place, not to a home with familiar walls and comfortable chairs. Tonight, we travel to a threshold. A place between worlds, a place where the old world ends and the new world begins, where millions of souls paused, held their breath, and waited. Ellis Island, 1900. The air tastes of salt, of cold smoke, of hope and fear, blended together so tightly you cannot separate them. The year is 1900, and the new century has just begun. And people arrive by the thousands, carrying everything they own in trunks and bundles, and sometimes just in their arms. Steam rises from the harbor. The water slaps against wooden pilings. Somewhere a ferry horn sounds low and mournful, cutting through the fog. The world feels slower here, heavier, as if someone has covered the entire place with the thick wool blanket. Time moves differently on Ellis Island. Minutes stretch, hours compress. A single day can feel like a lifetime, or a lifetime can pass in the space between heartbeats. Take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know your location and the local time because it's always a quiet thrill to imagine where you're listening from. Now, dim the lights and follow the shifting glow straight into the story. You stand at the edge of 1900 America with cold wind whipping around your coat. You stand on the deck of the ferry. Cold, so cold. The wind comes off the water in sharp gusts that bite at your cheeks and make your eyes water. You pull your coat tighter, but it does little. The cold finds its way through every gap, every seam, every buttonhole. Your fingers tingle. Your nose goes numb. The metal railing beneath your gloved hands feels like ice, even through the wool. The ferry rocks. Gentle, steady. The engine rumbles somewhere below your feet. A constant vibration that travels up through the deck, through your boots, into your bones. You feel it in your chest, in your teeth. A rhythm, constant, unchanging. The water spreads out around you, gray, green, and restless, topped with white foam that the wind tears into spray. The spray catches the weak morning light and turns to mist. You taste salt on your lips. You breathe it in with every breath. Cold, wet, heavy. Behind you, Manhattan recedes into the fog. The buildings fade to shadows, then to ghosts, then to nothing at all. The noise of the city, the carts, the vendors, the endless voices, it all disappears, swallowed by the sound of water and wind and the steady churn of the ferry engine. Ahead, Ellis Island emerges from the mist, slowly, so slowly. First, just a dark shape against the gray, then walls, red brick, tall windows, towers rising into the fog. The building grows larger with each moment, each heartbeat, each breath. You watch it come closer, closer, inevitable as time itself around you. People crowd the railing, hundreds of them, maybe more. Bodies pressed together for warmth, for comfort, for the simple reassurance of not being alone. You hear their breathing, rapid, nervous. You hear whispered prayers in languages you don't recognize. German, Italian, Yiddish, Polish, Russian. The words blur together, become music, become a single desperate hope that rises like steam into the cold morning air. A woman near you clutches a bundle wrapped in blankets. You cannot see what's inside, but you hear it. A soft whimper quickly hushed. A baby. She rocks the bundle gently back and forth, back and forth. Her lips move in prayer. Her eyes stay fixed on the building ahead. The man beside her holds a small trunk battered and rope-bound. His knuckles are white from gripping it. He will not let it go. Cannot let it go. Everything he owns in the world must be in that trunk. His whole life, his whole history compressed into a box 2 feet long. The ferry slows. You feel the change in the engine's rhythm. The vibration shifts, softens. The ferry glides now instead of pushing. The water beneath you changes from choppy to smooth, protected. You've entered the harbor proper, the sheltered water between the island and the mainland. The building towers above you now. 4 stories of red brick and limestone trim. Windows everywhere, hundreds of them reflecting the gray morning light. American flags snap in the wind from the towers at each corner. The sound is sharp, crisp, like rifle fire. The ferry bumps against the dock, gentle then harder. Then wood groans against wood and ropes, hiss through metal rings and men shout in English, their voices rough and impatient. The ferry shudders one final time. The engine cuts to idle. The vibration in your bones fades to nothing. For a moment, there is only the slap of water against the pilings, only the wind, only the breathing of hundreds of people who have traveled thousands of miles to reach this exact spot. And then everyone off. Move along. Keep moving. The voices of the officials not cruel, but not kind either. Efficient, practiced. They have done this 1,000 times before. They will do it 1,000 times again. You step forward. One step. Another. The crowd moves as a single organism, slow and uncertain. You move with it. Your feet find the gangplank. Wood wet from spray. Slightly slippery. You grip the rope railing. Rough hemp cold and damp through your gloves. One hand then the other, one foot then the other. Step, step, step. The gangplank flexes beneath the weight of so many people. It sways. You feel it move with each step alive beneath you like a breathing thing. The water below is dark. You try not to look down. You keep you. Eyes forward on the back of the person ahead of you. On the building. On anything except the gap between the gangplank and the water. And then solid ground. Not ground exactly. Stone. Paving stones, wet and slick but solid, unmoving. You pause just for a heartbeat, just to feel it. The firmness beneath your feet after days, weeks of nothing but rolling ship deck and rocking ferry. The relief is physical, tangible. Your legs remember what stillness feels like, but it cannot pause long. Keep moving through the doors. Move along. The crowd pushes from behind. Gentle but insistent, you move through the morning air, toward the building, toward the massive wooden doors that stand open like a mouth, ready to swallow you whole. The cold intensifies as you approach the building. Wind funnels between the structures, picking up speed, turning sharp. Your coat flaps, your hair whips across your face. You lower your head and push forward. The door's 10 steps away. 5, 3. You step across the threshold and everything changes. Warmth. Not much of it, but enough to the baggage hall notice. Enough to make you pause just for a heartbeat and feel the difference. The building blocks the wind. The walls hold what little heat rises from the hundreds of bodies crowded inside. Your face tingles as sensation returns to your frozen cheeks. The sound changes too. Outside, the wind scattered noise tore it apart, sent it flying across the water. Inside, sound concentrates, echoes, multiplies. Hundreds of voices, speaking dozens of languages, bounce off the high ceiling, off the brick walls, creating a constant roar like ocean waves that never break. You stand in the baggage hall. The ceiling sources above you, maybe 20 feet high, crossed with thick wooden beams that someone painted white years ago. Now, the paint peels in long strips, revealing the dark wood beneath. Light filters through tall wick, now's weak and gray, falling in long rectangular panels across the stone floor. The floor, you look down. Stone, the same stone as outside, but worn smooth here from the passage of countless feet, wet in places from melted snow, and the perpetual drip of hundreds of wet coats. The dampness gives the stone a dark sheen, makes it look almost black in the shadows between the windows. Your breath still clouds in the air. You can see it, small puffs of white that drift and dissipate and are replaced by the next breath. In, out, the rhythm steady. Your body settling after the journey, after the rocking boat, after the uncertainty around you. People set down their belongings, not gently. They drop them, release them, let them fall to the stone floor with thuds and clatters and the soft whoosh of fabric bundles hitting ground. You hear relief in those sounds. The physical relief of setting down weight carried too long. Muscles relaxing, shoulders dropping, hands opening. A man near you lowers a massive trunk to the floor. It must weigh 100 pounds or more. His face is red from effort. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the cold. He straightens slowly, pressing his hands to his lower back, and lets out a long breath that turns to fog in the cold air. A woman unwraps a shawl from around her shoulders and spreads it on the floor. On it, she carefully arranges her possessions. A small pot, a wooden bowl, 3 spoons wrapped in cloth, A book with a cracked leather cover. She touches each item as she sets it down. Gentle, reverent. These are not just objects. These are anchors, pieces of a life left behind. Children run between the adults' legs, released from parental grip, released from the enforced stillness of the ferry ride. They chase each other in tight circles, their voices high and bright against the low rumble of adult conversation. A boy laughs. A girl shouts something in Italian. Their feet slap against the wet stone, creating echoes that dance up to the ceiling and back. But most people stand still, waiting. You wait with them. For what? You're not entirely sure. Instructions, perhaps. Direction. The next step in a process you don't fully understand. You know only that you must be here, that everyone must be here, that this is how it begins. The smell hits you gradually, not all at once, but layer by layer as your nose adjusts to being indoors. First, you notice the wool, wet wool. Hundreds of wet wool coats and shawls and blankets creating a thick animal smell that hangs in the air like fog. Then beneath that, you catch the smell of coal smoke. It clings to fabric, to hair, to skin. Everyone carries it. The scent of ships' boilers and city stoves, and the endless burning that keeps the industrial world moving. And beneath that, you smell bodies. Not unpleasant, exactly. Just human sweat and breath and the particular smell of people who have traveled far without access to baths or clean water or privacy. You smell it on yourself, too. You've become part of this smell, part of this mass of humanity compressed into a single hall. You notice the officials now. They stand at a long wooden counter at the far end of the hall. 3 of them, maybe 4 men in dark uniforms with brass buttons that catch the weak light. They write in ledgers, check papers, tie tags to people's clothing with pieces of string. Their movements are efficient, mechanical. They've done this so many times that it requires no thought, no emotion, just procedure. Next, bring your luggage forward. Keep your papers ready. The voice cuts through the general noise, loud, American accented, the vowels flat and nasal in a way that sounds strange to your ears. Harsh almost, but clear, unmistakable. The crowd shifts. People gather their belongings again, lifting trunks and bundles and children. They form a rough line that leads to the counter. Not a neat line, not an organized line, more like a slow and moving mass that funnels toward a single point. You join it. Let yourself be carried forward by the gentle pressure of bodies behind and beside you. The line moves slowly, so slowly you take one step. Wait, another step. Wait. The rhythm is maddening. Each pause feels endless. Each movement feels too brief. Time does strange things here. Stretches and compresses simultaneously. You watch the people ahead of you reach the counter. You watch the officials ask questions. Point at luggage, write in their ledgers, attach tags to coat lapels with practice efficiency. The tags are white pieces of cardboard tied with string, numbers written in black ink. Each person gets one. Each trunk gets one. Everything must be tagged. Everything must be tracked. A family of 5 reaches the counter. Mother, father, 3 children, the oldest maybe 10, the youngest still carried in the mother's arms. The official asks questions in English. The father responds in broken English mixed with German. The official frowns, speaks slower, louder, as if volume will create understanding where vocabulary fails. Eventually, through gesture and repetition, and the intervention of a young man who speaks both languages, the process completes. Tags are attached. Papers are stamped. The family is directed to another door, another hall. The next phase of whatever comes next. They gather their belongings and move on. The space they occupied fills immediately with the next family, the next group. The process repeats. You inch forward. Wait. Step. Wait. The windows along the wall draw your attention. Through them you can see outside the harbor, the water. The ferry that brought you here is already pulling away, heading back to Manhattan for another load, for more people, more trunks. More hope and fear and desperate determination. Another ferry waits at the dock already. You can see people crowded on its deck. Tiny figures from this distance waiting their turn, waiting to enter this building, to stand in this hall, to join this line. They say almost 5,000 people pass through Ellis Island on a busy day. Looking around this hall, seeing the endless line and the constant flow, you believe it. You can feel it. The sheer volume of humanity, the scale of movement, the magnitude of this moment in history. The fire crackles. Wait. No, there is no fire here. Not in this hall. No warmth beyond body heat. No comfort beyond proximity. The baggage hall is cold, damp, functional, nothing more. But somewhere of this building there must be fires. There must be. The officials stay here all day, all night. They must have warmth somewhere. You imagine it. The glow of flames, the crackle of wood, the radiating heat. The thought makes the cold around you feel sharper, more present. You step forward again, closer to the counter now. 10 people ahead of you. Then 8. Then 5. You can see the officials clearly now. One is young, maybe 25, with dark hair slicked back with paid. He moves quickly, efficiently, no wasted motion. The other is older, graying at the temples with a thick mustache that twitches when he speaks. He moves more slowly, takes time with each person, not kinder necessarily, just more thorough. 3 people ahead. 2. 1. And then it's your turn. Papers. The word comes flat. Uninterested. The young official extends his hand without looking up from his ledger. His pen hovers over the page, ready to write. You fumble for your documents. They're in your coat pocket, wrapped in oilcloth to protect them from the sea spray. Your fingers are still cold, clumsy. The oilcloth crinkles as you unwrap it. The sound seems very loud in your ears. You hand, the papers. The official glances at them, flips through. His eyes scan the pages quickly, looking for something. What? You're not sure. Stamps, signatures, the right words in the right places. Luggage. You point to your bundle. It's not much, a canvas bag with rope handles. Inside clothes, a few personal items. A photograph wrapped in cloth. Everything you own, everything you chose to carry across the ocean. The official ties a tag to the handle. The number is 1847. He writes the same number on your papers on a separate card. 3 places, 3 copies. Everything documented, everything tracked. 3rd door on the left, stairs to the registry room. Next, he hands back your papers and dismisses you with a gesture, already looking past you to the next person, the next case. The endless line, you gather your bag and move toward the indicated door. Your heart pounds. This is real. This is happening. You're here. The Akases. The door leads to a hallway. Narrow, dim. The walls are brick painted white years ago, now yellowed and chipped. A single gas light flickers overhead, casting jumping shadows that make the wall seem to breathe. The sound changes again. The roar of the baggage hall fades behind you. Here in this narrow space, sound becomes intimate, close. You hear your own footsteps loud against the stone floor. You hear the breathing of the people ahead and behind you. You hear the rustle of fabric, the creak of leather boots, the quiet murmur of whispered conversations. The hallway opens into a larger space. And there the stairs. They rise before you like a test, like a judgment, wide and steep, climbing upward into shadow. Stone steps, each one worn in the middle from countless feet. The wear is visible even in the dim light. A smooth depression in the center of each step where the stone has been polished by passage. People climb slowly, some more slowly than others. An old woman ahead of you grips the railing with both hands. She pulls herself up, step by step, her breath coming in labored gasps that echo in the stairwell. Each step is an effort, a victory, a small defeat. She pauses on every 3rd step to catch her breath, to gather strength for the next climb. Behind her, a young man waits patiently. He could easily pass her, could squeeze by on the wide stairs, but he doesn't. He waits, gives her space, gives her dignity. When she pauses, he pauses. And she climbs, he climbs. The rhythm matches. You begin your own ascent. The railing is smooth wood, dark from the oil of thousands of hands, warm from recent contact. You grip it gently. Let your hands slide along its length as you climb. Step. The The stone is solid beneath your foot, cool even through your boot's sole. The edge of the step shows the most wear, rounded, polished. How many feet to create such smoothness? Hundreds of thousands, millions. Another step. Your breath comes easier than the old woman's, but you feel the exertion nonetheless. The climb is steeper than it looked from below, higher. Each step requires effort, commitment. The muscles in your thighs begin to burn gently at first, then more insistently. At the top of the first flight, the stairs turn. A landing, small, barely enough room for two people to pass. The window here looks out over the harbor. You pause to glance through it. Outside, the world continues. Ferries come and go. Steam rises from their smokestacks. The water moves restless and gray-green. Manhattan shimmers in the distance, barely visible through the morning haze. The city that holds your future. The city you haven't yet entered. The city that waits. But between you and that city stands this moment, this building, this process. You turn back to the stairs. More climbing. They say the officials watch people climb these stairs. Hat they stand at the top and observe, looking for signs of illness, of weakness, of any condition that might make you a burden on your new country. A limp, labored breathing, a hand pressed to the chest, a pallor in the cheeks. They watch, they note, they decide. The thought makes you conscious of your own body, your own breathing. You force yourself to breathe evenly, regularly, to climb at a steady pace, not too fast, not too slow, natural, healthy, strong. Step, step, step. The second flight is longer than the first. The stairs seem to multiply as you climb. You count them to give your mind something to do, to keep panic at bay, to maintain the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 5, 2, 0, 2, 5. The old woman ahead has reached the top. You watch her take the final step. Watch her pause at the summit. See her shoulders rise and fall as she catches her breath. Then she moves forward out of sight into whatever space waits beyond. The young man behind her follows. Then others. Then you, the final step, and you emerge into light. Vast. That's the registry room first word that comes to mind. Vast and impossibly bright after the dim stairwell. Light pours through massive arched windows that line both sides of the room, flooding the space with cold morning brightness. The windows are tall, maybe 15 feet high, dozens of them. The light they admit turns the air itself visible. You can see dust motes drifting in the beams, dancing in currents you cannot feel. The ceiling sources overhead, veined tiled. The tiles are cream-colored, decorated with patterns that catch and reflect light. Ornate plaster work edges the corners where ceiling meets walls. Someone took care with this room. Someone intended it to impress, to inspire, to overwhelm. It works. You stand at the entrance and feel yourself shrink. Feel your smallness, your insignificance. You are one person among hundreds, one story among thousands. Oh, knee heartbeat in a thundering herd. The room stretches before you like a cathedral, like a great hall, like nothing you've seen before. The floor is red tile, polished, clean. The light reflects off it in soft gleams. Your eyes follow the tiles forward to the far end of the room, where they disappear into shadow. The space between entrance and far wall is filled with people. Hundreds of them, maybe more. They stand in lines, 12 lines. 15, maybe 20. It's hard to count, hard to separate one line from another. They blur together, merge, become a single mass of humanity flowing in a general direction, like water following gravity. Metal railings divide the space. They create channels, pathways. The railings are pipe, iron painted black, supported by posts every 6 feet. They form a maze, a labyrinth. The lines follow the railings in long switchbacks that fold back on themselves again and again, creating a path that must be 3 or 4 times the length of the room. You join the nearest line. No one tells you to. No one directs you. You simply see others doing it and understand that this is what you must do. Join the line. Follow the railings. Wait. The sound in this room is different from the baggage hall. Higher, lighter. The vaulted ceiling catches voices and sends them upward where they scatter and swirl before falling back down as a constant susurrus, like wind through leaves, like distant water. A sound made of thousands of individual sounds that have merged into one. You hear individual voices occasionally. A child crying, a man laughing, a woman calling a name, but mostly it's just the general roar, the oceanic sound of mass humanity, compressed into a single space. The line moves, not constantly, in fits and starts, 10 steps forward, then standing, then another few steps. The rhythm is unpredictable, frustrating. You cannot settle into it, cannot anticipate it. You must stay alert, ready to move, ready to stop. Around you, people carry their lives in their arms. Bundles wrapped in cloth, baskets covered with sheets, children clutched tight. An old man holds a bird cage with a yellow canary inside. The bird hops from perch to perch, its head tilting left and right as it surveys this strange indoor world. A woman carries a wooden box that must contain something precious. She cradles it like an infant, both arms wrapped around it, her chin resting on top. The smell here is similar to the baggage hall, but intensified, more concentrated. Wet wool, cold smoke, human bodies, but also something else. Something chemical, sharp. You realize it's disinfectant. They must clean this room constantly. Must mop the floors, wash the windows, try to keep disease at bay. The smell of carbolic soap cuts through the organic odor, creating a strange mixture that makes your nose twitch. You notice the officials now. They sit at wooden desks arranged in rows at the far end of the room. Maybe 30 desks, maybe more. Each desk has an official seated behind it and a line of people waiting in front of it. The officials wear the same dark uniforms, the same brass buttons. They ask questions, write in ledgers, stamp papers. The same motions repeated at every desk 30 times, 50 times, hundreds of times a day. Behind the officials stand other men. These ones wear white coats, doctors. They watch the people passing through. They observe, they make notes on clipboards. Occasionally, they step forward and tap someone on the shoulder, pull them aside. The person so selected looks confused, frightened, but they follow. They always follow. What choice is there? You watch a doctor tap a young woman's shoulder. She's maybe 20, carrying a small child. The doctor says something, points to a door on the side of the room. The woman's face goes pale. She clutches the child tighter, but she nods. She follows. She disappears through the door. You wonder what's wrong, what the doctor saw, whether she'll come back. The line moves again. You step forward. 5 steps. 6. You can see more of the room. Now along the walls between the windows, large boards hang, displaying information in multiple languages. Rules, procedures. The boards are painted black with white lettering. German, Italian, Polish, Yiddish, Russian, Hungarian, Greek. Each saying the same thing in different words, explaining the same process in different tongues. You try to read the nearest one, but the light makes it difficult. The sun through the windows creates glare, shadows. The words swim and blur. You make out fragments. Medical inspection. Answer all questions truthfully. Violation will result in a man near you speaks suddenly in Russian. His voice is loud, anxious. He's talking to the woman beside him. His wife perhaps, or sister. They argue in rapid whispers. Hands gesture. Faces show worry, disagreement, fear. You don't understand the words, but you understand the emotion. The woman shakes her head firmly. No. Whatever he's suggesting, she refuses. She says something sharp. Final. The man's shoulders slump. He nods, defeated. They fall silent. The line moves. You're closer to the desks now. Maybe 50 people ahead of you. You can see the officials' faces, can hear their voices when they speak loudly, can see the expressions of the people being questioned. An interpreter stands between some of the desks, a short man with thick glasses and a notebook. He moves from desk to desk as needed, speaking Italian here, German there, Russian at the next desk. His voice carries in the pauses between other sounds, translating questions, translating answers, building bridges of language over chasms of incomprehension. Time passes. How much time you're not sure. There are no clocks visible. No way to mark the passage of minutes except by the slow forward progress of the line. The light through the windows shifts slightly. The angle changes. Morning advancing toward noon, but you could have been standing here for 20 minutes or 2 hours. There's no way to tell. Your feet begin to ache. The stone floor is hard, unforgiving. Even through your boot soles you feel it. The balls of your feet, your heels. A dull throb that grows more insistent with each minute of standing. You shift your weight. Left foot, left, right. It helps a little, not much. Others around you do the same. A constant, subtle movement like grass bending in wind. The whole line sways, shifts. A living organism trying to find comfort where none exists. A child behind you starts to cry. Not loud, not dramatic, just a tired, miserable whimper that speaks of exhaustion and confusion and the desperate need for this to be over. The mother hushes him, pats his back, sings something soft. The melody is unfamiliar, but the tone is universal. Comfort, love, patience. The crying fades to hiccups, then silence. The child has fallen asleep on his mother's shoulder. His small body goes limp with the sudden totality of childhood sleep. The mother's expression softens. Relief. She shifts his weight to a more comfortable position and keeps moving forward whenever the line moves. The line moves and moves and moves. You're perhaps 20 people from a desk now, close enough to hear the questions being asked, close enough to feel the nervousness of the people ahead of you. It radiates like heat, like cold, something you can feel even without touching. Name. Where from? Can you read? Do you have a job waiting? Who paid for your passage? How much money do you have? The questions repeat at each desk. The same questions, the same order. A script performed hundreds of times a day. You listen to the answers, try to learn, try to prepare. Most people answer clearly, quickly. They've anticipated these questions, prepared responses. They speak with confidence, even when their English is broken, even when the interpreter must translate. But some hesitate, stumble. Their answers come too slowly or too quickly. They contradict themselves, change their stories. The officials notice. They narrow their eyes. They ask follow-up questions, harder questions, questions designed to trip, to test, to reveal lies or confusion, or any reason to refuse entry. A man 3 people ahead of you fails. You don't hear exactly what happens, don't catch the specific exchange, but you see the result. The official stamps his paper, not with the regular stamp, with a different one, red ink instead of black. The official says something, points to a different door, a door on the side of the room, marked with a sign you can't quite read from here. The man's face crumbles. He tries to argue. The official shakes his head, firm, final, calls for the next person. The rejected man gathers his bundle and walks toward the indicated door slowly, as if his legs have turned to lead, as if each step requires all his strength. He doesn't look back, doesn't say goodbye to the people he stood in line with for hours. He just walks through the door, gone. Where does that door lead? You wonder. You fear. Back to the ferry, back to the ship, back across the ocean to whatever he fled, or somewhere else, a holding area, a detention room, a place of appeals and second chances. You don't know. The line moves again. 10 people ahead. 5, 3. Your heart pounds. Your hands sweat despite the cold. You clutch your papers tighter. The oilcloth crinkles. You can feel the documents inside, folded, creased. Everything official, everything in order. At least you hope so. You hope whoever filled them, you did it correctly. Hope there are no mistakes, no omissions, nothing that will send you through that side door. 2 people ahead, 1. The person ahead finishes, gathers their papers, moves on, allowed through, approved. The official waves them forward to yet another line, yet another checkpoint, but forward. Not to the side, not back, forward. And then your turn. You step up to the desk. The official looks up. His eyes are tired, red-rimmed. How many people has he seen today? How many stories has he heard? How many decisions has he made? Papers. You hand them over. He opens them, scans. His pen hovers over his ledger, waiting. Name. You give it, he writes. Where from? You answer. He writes. Can you read? Yes. Profession? You tell him. How much money do you have? You state the amount. Not much, but enough. You hope it's enough. They say you need to show you won't become a public charge, that you can support yourself. You've counted your money a H100 times. It should be enough. The official nods, writes more questions, each one feeling like a test, each answer feeling inadequate. But you respond honestly, clearly, the truth. Nothing but the truth. Because lies here would be disaster. The interpreter isn't needed for you. Your English is sufficient. Broken, perhaps accented, but functional. The official understands you understand him. The transaction proceeds. Any chronic illnesses? No. Ever been convicted of a crime? No. Are you an anarchist? No. That question surprises you. Anarchist. Why would they ask that? But you answer firmly. No, definitely not. The official seems satisfied. He stamps your papers. Black ink, not red. Black. The sound of the stamp hitting paper is the most beautiful sound you've ever heard. A door opening, a future secured, a chance granted. Registry desk 12. Follow the right corridor. Next, you gather your papers with trembling hands. You've done it. Past the first step completed. Relief floods through you so strongly it makes your knees weak. You move away from the desk. Your legs feel strange, light, as if gravity has loosened its hold. You follow the indicated corridor away from the registry room, away from the vaulted ceiling and the massive windows and the endless lines into what comes next. The corridor of decusins. The corridor is narrower than the registry room, darker. The ceiling drops to maybe 10 feet. The walls press closer. Brick again, painted white. But here the paint is cleaner, newer, as if this space has been more recently maintained. The light comes from windows on one side only. The glass is frosted, translucent. It admits brightness, but not vision. You cannot see through to whatever lies beyond. The light that enters is diffused, soft. It fills the corridor with a gentle glow that feels almost peaceful after the harsh brightness of the registry room. But peace is an illusion. This corridor holds its own tensions, its own anxieties. Because here people face choices, directions, separations. Signs hang from the ceiling at intervals. Wooden signs painted black with white lettering. Arrows pointing, directing, detained, held for inquiry. Money exchange, railroad tickets, temporary lodging. Each sign represents a different fate, a different path, a different story. You walk slowly. Your bundle hangs heavy in your hand now. The adrenaline of the interview fading. Fatigue settling into your bones. You've been awake since before dawn. Been standing and walking and climbing and waiting for hours. Your body wants rest, wants stillness, wants somewhere to sit, to breathe, to absorb what has just happened. Along the corridor, benches line the walls. Long wooden benches without backs. People sit on them, waiting, always waiting. An old couple holds hands on one bench. Their faces show exhaustion deeper. The tie and physical tiredness. Something that lives in the soul. The kind of exhaustion that comes from leaving everything behind. From starting over at an age when most people's lives are settled, fixed, complete. On another bench, a young mother nurses an infant. She's covered herself with a shawl from modesty. But you can see the baby's small hand gripping the fabric. Can hear the soft sounds of feeding. The mother's eyes are closed, her head tilted back against the wall. For a moment she's somewhere else. Somewhere private. Somewhere that isn't this corridor, this island, this moment of in-between. A group of men stand clustered near one of the signs. The one marked railroad tickets. They're talking rapidly in Italian, gesturing. One pulls out a piece of paper, unfolds it, points to something written there. The others lean in, study it. They're planning, deciding where to go. Which train? Which city? Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. Places that exist only as names on a map. Places they've never seen. Places that will become home simply because they must become home. You pass another sign. Medical detention. A door beneath it stands slightly ajar. Through the gap, you glimpse another room. Smaller, darker. Beds line the walls. Simple iron frames with thin mattresses. People lie on them, resting or sick, or both. A nurse in a white uniform and cap moves between the beds. You see her for only a moment before the corridor turns and the door disappears from view. But that glimpse is enough. Enough to remind you how fragile this all is, how easily things could go wrong. One cough, one fever, one tremor or rash or sign of disease, and you'd be there in that room on one of those beds waiting, wondering if you'd ever leave. You walk faster. The corridor branches left or right. A sign at the junction says ferry to Manhattan with an arrow pointing left. Detained persons with an arrow pointing right. You turn left. Obviously, desperately, the floor changes here. Still tile, but the color shifts from red to cream. The change marks a boundary, an invisible line between processing and freedom, between immigrant and immigrant approved. The tiles feel the same beneath your feet, solid, cool. But knowing you're walking on different colored tiles makes everything different. The corridor widens slightly. More windows appear. Regular windows now, clear glass. Through them, you can see the harbor again, the water, the ferries, and beyond. Clear now. Manhattan, buildings rising like cliffs. Smoke from 1,000 chimneys creating a haze over the city. Your city now, your new home. The place that will either embrace you or crush you. You don't know which. Can't know. Can only walk forward and find out. At the end of this corridor stands another door. Wide double doors, both halves open. Beyond them, you see another room smaller than the registry room, but still substantial. This one filled with different kinds of people. Not immigrants waiting in lines, but others, Americans maybe, or immigrants who arrived earlier, who have already completed this process, who are here to meet the newly arrived. You step through the doors and enter the waiting room. Noise. That's the meeting hall impression. Noise louder and more chaotic than anything yet. Because this isn't the uniform sound of hundreds processing through a system. This is the sound of reunions, of recognition, of joy and relief, and sometimes grief. Voices shout names. Katerina, Giovanni, Sarah, over here. People push forward. Crowd against a metal railing that separates the newly processed immigrants from the people waiting to receive them. Hands reach across the railing. Arms wave, bodies pressed together. In a universal human need to touch, to confirm, to make real what had been only hoped for. A young woman emerges from the corridor behind you. She pauses. Her eyes scan the crowd, searching, desperate. And then she sees someone. Her face transforms from anxiety to pure, radiant joy. In an instant, she screams a name you don't catch and runs forward. An older woman on the other side of the railing screams back. They reach for each other across the barrier. Their hands meet, clasp, hold. Both women are crying, sobbing. The older woman reaches across and touches the younger one's face, cups her cheek as if she needs the physical confirmation that this is real, that her daughter, it must be her daughter, is actually here, actually safe, actually arrived. You stand and watch. You're not sure what else to do. No one is here for you. No one waits on the other side of that railing with your name on their lips. You came alone. You'll leave alone. That was the plan. That is the reality. But watching these reunions does something to your chest, tightens it, makes breathing difficult, not from sadness exactly. Something more complex, a mixture of happiness for them and loneliness for yourself, a recognition of what you don't have, what you gave up to come here. An old man shuffles forward from the corridor. He moves slowly using a cane, each step deliberate, careful. He reaches the railing and stops. His head turns left, right, searching. His eyes are clouded, cataracts maybe. He squints against the light, against the chaos. No one calls his name. He stands there waiting, hoping. His knelled hands grit the railing. His lips move, perhaps in prayer, perhaps just muttering to himself. You watch him for a full minute, 2 minutes. No one comes. No one calls. Ow. The man's shoulders begin to slump, the hope visibly draining from his posture like water from a cracked vessel. And then a young man pushes through the crowd on the other side, not running, not shouting, moving with purpose. He reaches the railing across from the old man, says something. Quiet. You can't hear over the general noise. The old man's head jerks up. His clouded eyes try to focus. The young man says something else, reaches across the railing and takes the old man's hand. The old man's face crumples. He tries to speak, but can't. Can only stand there holding this young man's hand while tears stream down his weathered cheeks. Grandfather and grandson, you think must be separated for years, maybe decades. And now here on this island, in this room, the generations meet again. The room continues its chaos around them, but for that moment, they exist in a pocket of stillness. Two people holding hands across a metal railing, held together by blood and memory, and the simple fact of presence. You look away. It feels intrusive to watch, too intimate, too private. These moments aren't meant for strangers' eyes. The room is large, not as large as the registry room, but substantial, maybe 40 by 60. The ceiling is lower here, 12 feet perhaps. Painted plaster instead of ornate tiles. Simpler, more functional. The windows along one wall show the harbor. Along the opposite wall, doors lead to other corridors, other areas, other purposes. The floor is wood here, not tile. The wood is worn smooth from years of traffic. Dark in some places, lighter in others where sunlight has bleached it. Your footsteps sound different, softer. The wood absorbs sound rather than reflecting it like the stone and tile in the other rooms. Benches line the walls. More people waiting. Some alone like you, some in small groups. A family of 6 sits clustered on one bench. Father, mother, 4 children ranging from maybe 3 to 12. They sit in silence, not touching, not talking. Just sitting, existing, processing what they've just been through. What comes next? Officials move through the room, not DM. Any, just 2 or 3. They answer questions when asked, direct people to appropriate doors. Their presence is more relaxed here. Less urgent than in the processing areas. The hard part is over. The decision's made now. It's just logistics, transportation, final arrangements. A clock hangs on the far wall. You see it now. Round black hands on a white face. The time is 2:47 afternoon. Later than you thought. The day has passed in that peculiar Ellis Island time distortion. Hours compressed into what felt like minutes. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. Your stomach makes a sound, low, hollow. You realize you haven't eaten since last night, since dinner on the ferry from Manhattan. How long ago? 12 hours. 15. Everything blurs together. You notice a small counter along one wall. Behind it, a woman in a simple dress sells food, bread, cheese, apples. Nothing elaborate, just basics. The prices are written on a board above the counter, higher than they should be, but you're a captive audience. Where else can you go? What choice do you have? You approach, join the short line, wait your turn. When you reach the counter, you point to bread and cheese, exchange coins. The woman wraps them in paper without a word. No greeting, no smile, just transaction. Efficient, meaningless. You find a section of bench with space. Sit. The relief of sitting after hours of standing is profound, physical. Your legs, thank you. Your feet, thank you. Your entire body seems to exhale. You unwrap the food. The bread is dense, dark, rye. Maybe the cheese is pale, yellow, firm. You break off a piece of bread. It's slightly stale, hard to chew, but it's food, sustenance. Your body needs it more than your tongue needs flavor. You chew slowly, swallow. Take another bite. The cheese is better, sharper, more interesting. It helps the bread go down around you. Life continues. People come and go, reunite, separate, move through doors toward whatever comes next. The room flows like a river. Constant motion, constant change. But you sit still in the current. Let it move around you. Rest for a moment in the eye of the storm. The fire crackles. No, still no fire here. But you think of fire. Long for it. The warmth, the light, the comfort of flames pushing back darkness and cold. Where would there be fires in this building? The dormitories, maybe. If there are dormitories, there must be. Some people stay overnight. Some people stay for days or weeks, detained, held, for further inquiry, waiting for bonds to be posted, or relatives to be found, or illnesses to heal. They must sleep somewhere, must keep warm somehow. But not here, not in this room. This room serves a different purpose. Transit, movement, the space between arrival and departure. You finish your bread and cheese. Brush the crumbs from your lap. They fall to the wooden floor and scatter. Someone will sweep them up later. Someone whose job it is to maintain order in this place of chaos. You sit a moment longer, gathering energy, gathering courage for what comes next. Because you're not done. Not yet. You've passed the medical inspection, passed the registry, been allowed to leave the processing areas, but you're still on Ellis Island, still not in America. Not really. Not until you step off this island onto Manhattan. Not until you walk streets that aren't controlled by immigration officials. Not until you're free. You stand, gather your bundle, look around one final time. An official stands near one of the doors. Above the door, a sign reads, "Ferry to Manhattan departures." That's where you need to be. You walk toward it. Before you reach the ferry door, the money exchange something catches your eye. A window set into the wall. Behind the glass, a man sits on a tall stool. He wears a green visor and sleeve gay. Orders? Before him, stacks of currency, American dollars. Behind him, a board showing exchange rates for various foreign currencies. Mark, hex, lyre, rubles, kroner, guilders, the money exchange. You still have foreign currency in your pocket. Not much, but you'll need American money for the ferry, for food, for wherever you're going next. The thought hadn't occurred to you until now, until seeing this window, this service, this necessary transaction. A short line stands before the window. 3 people, then 2, then 1. You join, become the 4th. The person ahead of you slides money through the opening at the bottom of the window, says something in Polish. The exchange clerk nods, counts the money, fingers flying across bills and coins. He consults his rate board, calculates, counts out American currency, slides it back through the window. The transaction takes maybe 30 seconds. Next person, then next, then you. You pull out your remaining money, foreign bills. You earned this money before leaving. Saved it, hid it, protected it through the entire journey. The bills are worn soft from handling. You slide them through the window. The clerk doesn't look at your face, only at the money. He counts quickly. His lips move slightly. Calculating, his fingers are stained with ink. Permanent gray smudges on the fingertips and knuckles. Years of handling currency has marked him. He consults the rate board. The numbers there mean nothing to you. You don't understand the mathematics. Don't understand how the conversion works. You can only trust. Hope you're not being cheated. Hope the rate is fair. The clock counts out American bills. 1s, 5s, a 10 slides them through, along with coins, silver, heavy. They clink against each other. A musical sound, the sound of potential, of purchase, in power, of survival. You gather the money, count it yourself, not because you don't trust the clock, but because you need to know, need to understand what you have, what you can do with it. Less than you hoped, more than you feared. Enough for a few days, maybe a week if you're careful. Time to find work, find a place to stay, begin the actual business of building a life. You pocket the money. The weight of it is reassuring, real, tangible. You're not destitute, not helpless. You have resources, limited, but real. The clerk is already looking past you to the next person, next transaction. You move away from the window, back toward your original destination, the ferry door. But again, you pause. Another window, another service, railroad tickets. The sign above it reads, behind this window, a different clerk. This one, a woman, older, gray hair pulled back in a tight bun, spectacles balanced on her nose. She shuffles through papers and timmets. People cluster at this window more than at the money exchange. Families, mostly groups, trying to decide, consulting pieces of paper, arguing in whispers where to go, which city, which train, when. The woman at the window is patient, infinitely patient. She asks questions in slow, clear English, points to maps on the wall beside her window. The maps show railroad lines spreading from New York like veins, like routes reaching west, reaching south, connecting the eastern seaboard to the interior, to places with strange American names, to futures unknown. You listen to the exchanges, learning 3 tickets to Chicago. The woman consults her timetable, quotes a price. The family huddles, counts money, nods. The transaction proceeds. 1 ticket to Pittsburgh. Again, the consultation, the price, the exchange. You don't need a train ticket. Not yet. Your destination is New York itself. Manhattan, the city across the water. You'll stay there. Find work there. You've heard there are communities, people who speak your language, who see and help newcomers. You'll find them somehow. But watching these others buy tickets west fills you with something. Admiration maybe, or anxiety. They're going even further into territory even more unknown. At least you'll have the city, the density of population, the anonymity that comes with crowds. They're heading to places where they might be the only family like them, the only one speaking their language. Isolated by distance and difference, brave or desperate, or both. The line at the ticket window continues. The clerk maintains her steady patience, selling passages, sending people deeper into America, performing her small but crucial role in the great redistribution of peoples that defines this era. You turn away back to your purpose, the ferry, the water, the final crossing. The door marked ferry to Manhattan departures stands open. Beyond it, another hallway, shorter than the others, brighter. You can see the end of it from here, can see daylight. Gray afternoon light that speaks of open air, of outside, of almost freedom. You walk toward it. Your hand grips your bundle tighter. Your other hand touches your pocket, confirming the presence of your papers, your money, everything official, everything necessary, everything that proves you have the right to walk this hallway, to step through that door, to board that ferry. Other people walk this hallway with you, all moving in the same direction. No one runs, no one rushes, but everyone moves with purpose, with relief, with the barely suppressed joy of those who have passed a test they weren't sure they could pass. A young couple walks ahead of you. They hold hands. The woman leans against the man's shoulder as they walk. He carries both their bundles. They speak in low voices, planning, imagining, building the future in whispered words. An old woman behind you mutters prayers. You recognize the rhythm, if not the lamb. Gauge, thanksgiving, gratitude, relief expressed through religious formula, through words older than countries, older than immigration, older than this island. The hallway ends. You step through the final door. Outside, cold. The wind hits the fennel dock you immediately, sharp, bitter. After hours inside, the temperature shock is physical. Your breath catches, your eyes water. The warmth you'd accumulated from body heat in enclosed spaces vanishes in seconds. But you don't mind because this is outside. This is air. This is the harbor wind that speaks of freedom, of completion, of permission granted. You stand on a covered walkway, wooden planks beneath your feet. A roof overhead, but walls open to the elements. The structure extends from the building to a dock where a ferry waits. The ferry is smaller than the one that brought you here, older. The paint on its hull is faded, chipped, but it floats. It runs. It will carry you across. People file down the walkway ahead of you. Steady, orderly, no rush. The ferry won't leave without its passengers, won't depart until it's full or until some official decides it's time. So people walk slowly, savoring this transition, this crossing of the final threshold. You walk with them. The planks creak beneath your feet. The sound is hollow. Beneath the planks you glimpse water, dark, moving. The gap between planks and water is maybe 6 feet, maybe more. Enough to remind you that you're not quite on solid ground yet. That one more water crossing remains. The railing along the walkway is rough wood, unfinished. Splinters catch in your glove when you let your hand trail along it. You pull your hand back, examine the glove. No damage, but you're more careful. Keep your hands to yourself. Snow begins to fall. Soft, gentle, fat flakes that drift down from the gray sky like feathers. They land on your coat, on your bundle, on the planks of the walkway. They melt immediately on contact with the wood, but in the air they float, dance, create patterns of white against gray. The ferry ahead is maybe 20 feet long, 30 at most. A single smokestack rises from its center, trailing dark smoke that the wind tears apart and scatters across the harbor. The deck is covered, a roof, but no walls. Benches line the interior. Simple wooden benches. No comfort, no luxury, just function. People board. Step across the small gap between dock and ferry deck. The ferry rocks gently with each person who steps aboard. The water beneath sloshes against the hull, slaps against pilings. The sound is rhythmic, soothing, like breathing. In and out, rise and fall. You reach the boarding point. An official stands there, not checking papers, not asking questions, just watching, making sure people board safely, that no one falls, that the process proceeds smoothly. Watch your step. That's all he says. The same 2 words repeated to each person. Watch your step. You watch your step. The gap is perhaps 2 feet. Not far, but the ferry moves, rises and falls with the water. The timing matters. You wait for the right moment. When the ferry rises level with the dock, then you step. Your foot finds the deck solid. You shift your weight. Bring your other foot across. You're aboard. The relief is immediate, irrational perhaps. You're not in Manhattan yet. Not free yet, but you're in the ferry. The vehicle that will take you there. 1 step closer, you find a bench. Sit. The wood is cold, even through your coat. Damp from earlier passengers or from spray or from the general wetness that pervades everything this close to water. But it's a seat. After all, the standing any seat is a gift. More people board. The ferry fills. Not packed, not crowded, but populated. 30 people, 40. Enough that the benches have no empty spaces. Enough that some people stand, holding on to support posts, swaying with the gentle motion of the vessel. A family sits across from you. Mother, father, 3 children. The youngest is a girl, maybe 4 years old. She has dark hair and huge dark eyes, and she stares at you with the unself-conscious intensity of children. You smile. She doesn't smile back, just stares. Eventually, her mother notices and pulls the girl closer, whispers something in her ear. The girl looks away. The ferry engine changes tone, rises, becomes more insistent. You feel the vibration increase. Feel the deck begin to shudder. Ropes are untied, thrown aboard. Men shout. Instructions, warnings. The gap between ferry and dock begins to widen slowly. Inches, then feet. The ferry pulls away from Ellis Island. You watch the island recede. The building that dominated your last several hours shrinks, becomes smaller, more manageable. From this distance, it looks almost peaceful, almost beautiful. Red brick against gray sky. Towers at the corners. Flags still snapping in the wind. You don't know how to feel about it. That building, that place, it tested you, judged you, held your fate in its procedures and its officials and its arbitrary lines between acceptable and unacceptable, but it also let you through. Granted permission, gave approval. So what do you feel? Gratitude, resentment, relief, fear. All of them, none of them. Something more complex than single words can capture. The ferry turns, begins its journey across the harbor. Manhattan ahead, visible through the snow and mist. Close now. Maybe a 50-minute crossing, maybe 20. The water is choppy. The ferry rocks. Not violently, but noticeably. Some people look uncomfortable. A woman near the front grips the railing. Her face is pale green tinged. She's going to be sick. You look away. Give her privacy. The wind picks up. It funnels across the open water without obstruction, without mercy. It cuts through your coat like the fabric isn't there. You pull the coat tighter. Hunch your shoulders. Try to minimize your exposure. Others do the same. The whole ferry full of people, hunched against wind, against cold, against the final barrier between their old lives and new. The snow falls harder. The flakes are smaller now, more insistent. They sting when they hit exposed skin. They gather in the folds of your coat, in your hair, on your eyelashes. You blink them away again. Again. The ferry horn sounds long, low, mournful, warning other vessels, announcing presence. The sound carries across the water and echoes back from Manhattan. Distorted, delayed, a ghost of itself. You can see the shore now. Not just buildings, but details. Docks, piers, warehouses, ships, moored, people moving along the waterfront. Activity, life, the normal business of a city on a winter afternoon. Smoke rises from countless chimneys. The smell of cold smoke reaches you even here on the water mixed with other smells. Fish, sewage, industrial chemicals, the smell of cities, of humanity compressed, of civilization built on trade and work and the endless grinding motion of commerce. It's not pleasant, but it's real. It's home now, for better or worse. The ferry slows, approaches the dock. Men on the pier catch ropes thrown from the ferry, tie them to massive iron cleats. The ferry bumps against the dock once, twice, then settles. The engine cuts to idle. Everyone off. Watch your step. Keep moving. The same instructions, different official, same words. The universal language of crowd control and efficiency. People stand, gather their belongings, form a rough line toward the exit. You stand with them. Join the flow. Wait your turn. The family with the staring girl goes ahead of you. The father steps off first, turns, reaches back to help his wife. She hands him the youngest chill. Day takes his hand, steps across safe. The other children follow one by one, a careful procession. Then they're on the pier standing together, looking around. Lost, overwhelmed, but together. Your turn. You step to the edge. The gap between ferry and pier is similar to the one at Ellis Island, 2 feet, maybe less. The ferry rocks, you time it. Wait, step. Your foot lands on the pier. Solid, unmoving. Manhattan, America. You've arrived. The pier extends into the streets of the lower, east side the city. Wooden planks give way to cobblestones. The transition is abrupt, jarring. Your feet aren't ready for the change. You stumble slightly. Catch yourself. Keep walking. The street ahead is narrow, lined with buildings that lean toward each other as if conspiring. 5 stories, 6, taller than anything you've seen before. Windows everywhere. Hundreds of windows. Laundry hangs from some of them despite the snow. Sheets, shirts, trousers, frozen stiff in the cold air. They don't wave, don't flutter, just hang there like flags of surrender to winter. The smell intensifies closer to the source now. Cold smoke, rotting vegetables, horse manure, unwashed bodies, cooking food, all of it mixing together into a thick miasma that hangs in the streets like fog. People crowd the sidewalks. More people than you've seen in one place, except maybe Ellis Island, but different. These people move with purpose, with destination. They're not waiting, not processing. They're living, working, existing in the normal flow of daily life. Vendors line the street, carts and stalls selling everything. Apples, potatoes, onions, bread, fish laid out on ice, bolts of fabric, pots and pans, shoes. The vendors call out in multiple languages: Italian, Yiddish, German, Polish, English, sometimes mixing all of them together in a single sentence. Apples, fresh apples, 2 cents. Herring, best herring. You buy fabric, beautiful fabric. Make dress, make coat. The cacophony is overwhelming. Every vendor trying to outshout the others, every voice competing for attention, for custom, for the few cents that mean the difference between eating today and not eating. You walk slowly, taking it in, trying to orient yourself, trying to understand where you are, where you should go, what you should do next. No one pays attention to you. No one stares. No one questions. You're just another immigrant fresh off the boat. One more body in the endless stream. The city swallows you without noticing, without caring. A cart pushes past you. A man pulling it by handles. The cart is loaded with rags, piled high, tied down with rope. The man doesn't look at you, doesn't slow. He expects you to move. You do press against a building wall to let him pass. The cart's wheels are iron. They clatter over the cobblestones, deafening at close range. Children run past. 3 boys chasing each other, dodging between adults, laughing, shouting. Their faces are dirty. Their clothes are torn. But their energy is boundless, uncontainable. They disappear around a corner. Their voices echo back, then fade. A woman sits on a stoop, old maybe 60, maybe 80. Hard to tell. Her face is wrapped of wrinkles. Her hands are wrapped in cloth. She's selling matches, a small box of matches balanced on her lap. Her eyes track each person passing. Hoping, waiting. Most people ignore her, walk past without looking. She doesn't call out, doesn't beg, just sits, waits, hopes. You walk on. The snow continues falling. Softer now, gentler. It gathers in the gutters, on windowsills, on the edges of roofs. The city turns slowly white, but underneath the dirt remains the grime, the reality of thousands of people living in tight quarters with inadequate sanitation and too little money. You notice signs in windows, advertisements, some in English, many in other languages. A sign in Yiddish advertises a grocery, another in Italian offers rooms for rent, German on another promising tailoring services. This is an immigrant neighborhood. That much is clear. People from everywhere live in side by side, each group clustering together for support, for language, for the comfort of familiar faces in this unfamiliar land. You turn a corner. The street narrows further. Buildings press closer. The sky becomes a thin strip between roof lines. A line of gray visible only when you look straight up. Here the tenements dominate. 5-story buildings, 6-story, made of brick, dark with soot, windows without glass in some places, just cloth covering the openings, or nothing, just holes letting in cold and snow and the endless noise of the street. Fire escapes zigzag down the front of buildings, iron frameworks that look barely stable. Clothing hangs from them. People sit on them in better weather. Now they're empty, slick with snow, dangerous. You hear a piano, someone playing. The music drifts from an open window. Not well played, halting. Tentative, someone learning, practicing. The melody is familiar, something from the old country, something you haven't heard in months. The sound of it creates an ache in your chest. Homesickness mixed with relief. You can't have both. Can't feel both, but you do. The street opens into a small square. Not really a square, just a slightly wider section where two streets intersect. A pushcart vendor sells hot chestnuts here. The smell cuts through the other odor. Sweet, warm. Your stomach responds immediately, hunger sharpening. You approach the vendor, an old man with a thick mustache and a cap pulled low. His cart has a small brazier built into it. Charcoal glowing red chestnuts roasting in a pan above the coals. He tends them with a long wooden spoon, turning, checking the motion automatic. Years of practice. How much? He looks at you, assesses, decides you're genuine. 3 cents. You dig in your pocket, find 3 pennies, hand them over. He scoops chestnuts into a small paper cone, hands them to you. They're hot. You juggle the cone, careful not to burn your fingers. Welcome to America, the vendor says. His accent is thick, Eastern European, Jewish maybe. He grins, missing several teeth. Is beautiful, no? You look around at the narrow street, the crowded buildings, the snow gathering in dirty piles, at the chaos and noise and desperation. Yes, you say. 'Cause what else is there to say? Because he's being kind because you need kindness today. Beautiful, he laughs. Knows you're lying, knows you mean it. Anyway, you eat, you stay warm. You find work is enough. You nod. Take your chestnuts. Move away from the cart. Find a spot against a building wall, sheltered slightly from the snow. You peel the first chestnut. The shell is hot. The meat inside is soft, sweet. You eat it slowly, savoring. When was the last time you had something warm, something sweet you can't remember? You eat another and another. The warmth spreads through you. Not just physical warmth, something else. Comfort, hope, the simple reassurance that comes from having food in your belly. The fire crackles. No, not here either. The brazier in the chestnut cart glows, but it doesn't crackle. Charcoal burns differently than wood. Quiet, steady, no drama, just heat. But somewhere in this city, fires do crackle. In stoves, in fireplaces, in the buildings all around you. Behind those walls, behind those windows, people keeping warm, cooking food, living lives. You finish your chestnuts, crumple the paper cone, drop it in the gutter where other trash accumulates. The city will collect it eventually, or it won't. Either way, it's no longer your concern. You need to find shelter. The day is fading. The light is already dim. In another hour, maybe less, it will be dark. And you can't be on the streets after dark. Not without knowing where you're going. Not in a city this size, this complex. You remember the sign you saw earlier? Rooms for rent. They must be everywhere in a neighborhood like this. People arriving daily, needing places to stay. Temporary, cheap. Just a room, just a bed, just somewhere to sleep while figuring out the next step. You walk, looking, searching, reading signs where you can. Most are in languages you don't read well. You skip those. Finally, you see one in your language. Rooms. Inquire within. An arrow points to a door, a stairway leading up. You hesitate just for a moment. This is real now. This is committing. This is accepting that you're here. That this is your life now. You climb the stairs. The stairs are the tenement. First, night dark, narrow. They smell of cabbage, of mildew, of countels. People climbing up and down, wearing the wood smooth, making each step concave in the center. You climb. 1 flight, 2 flights, 3, your legs burn. After all, the standing, all the walking, all the stairs at Ellis Island, these stairs feel impossible. Each step is a negotiation with your body. Each landing is a small victory. At the 3rd floor, a door stands open. Light spills from inside. Weak light, candlelight, or a small lamp, you approach. A woman sits at a small table just inside. She's maybe 50, heavy set, wearing a dark dress and an apron stained with food and wear. Her hair is pulled back severely. Her face is lined hard, the kind of hardness that comes from years of struggling, of doing what must be done. She looks up as you approach, doesn't smile, just looks. You want a room. Direct. No preliminaries. You appreciate that. You're too tired for social niceties. Yes. How long? You don't know how to answer. How long will you need? A week? A month? Until you find work, until you find something better. I'm not sure. She nods. Expected that answer. Payment is by the week in advance. $3. $3. You do quick math. That's almost half your money for 1 week. 1 week of shelter. It's too much. But what choice do you have? You need somewhere to sleep tonight. Tomorrow night. Until you figure things out. You pull out the money, count $3 bills, hand them over. She takes them, counts again. Satisfied, she stands, takes a key from a row of hooks on the wall behind her. 3rd floor, back room 7. Toilet is down the hall. Water, too. No cooking in the rooms. No loud noise after 9. No visitors of the opposite sex. You break rules, you leave. Understand? I understand. She hands you the key, points to the stairs. Up, you climb again. 1 more flight. Your legs barely cooperate. At the 4th floor landing, you find room 7. The number is painted on the door and way. Hit paint that's mostly chipped away. You unlock the door, push it open. Small. That's the first word. The only word. The room is maybe 8 feet by 10. A single window looks out onto the air shaft between buildings. The view is a brick wall 3 feet away. The window admits almost no light, almost no air. A bed stands against one wall. Iron frame, thin mattress. A blanket folded at the foot. The blanket is wool, coarse, gray, stained in places. A small table sits beneath the window. 1 chair. The chair wobbles when you touch it. 1 leg is shorter than the others. That's it. The entire room, bed, table, chair. 1 small space to exist in, to sleep in, to begin your American life. You set down your bundle. The room feels even smaller with your possessions in it. You move to the window. Look out at the brick wall at the narrow shaft that drops down to some basement or sub-level. You can't see. Trash accumulates down there. You can smell it even through the closed window. But this is yours for a week at least. This is shelter. This is safety. This is enough. You sit on the bed. The mattress is lumpy, uncomfortable. But it's horizontal. It will let you lie down, let you rest. That's all you need. The sounds of the building surround you. Above, footsteps, heavy pacing. Next door, voices, arguing. The words are muffled, but the emotion is clear. Anger, frustration. Somewhere, a baby cries. Constant, endless. The mother's voice trying to soothe, failing. This is the reality. This is what you've come to. Shared walls, shared sounds, shared smells. Leaves compressed together so tightly that privacy becomes meaningless, becomes impossible. You remove your coat, hang it on a nail driven into the wall. Someone before you drove that nail. Someone who needed somewhere to hang a coat. You're not the first person to live in this room. Won't be the last. Just one more in an endless chain of immigrants passing through, struggling through, surviving through. You remove your boots. Your feet ache, throb. Red marks where the leather pressed too tight. Blisters forming on both heels. You'll need to tend to those. But not tonight. Tonight you just need to rest. You lie down on the bed fully clothed. The blanket smells of others, of strangers. But it's wool. It provides warmth. You pull it over yourself, up to your chin. The ceiling above you is cracked. Water stains spread from one corner, yellow-brown. The plaster is peeling in places, hanging in loose strips. The ceiling of the room above probably leaks. When it rains, water comes through, drips down, damages the ceiling, then continues down to the room below. Water knows no boundaries, respects no walls. You close your eyes, the sounds continue, the arguments, the crying, the footsteps, but you're learning to filter them out, learning to let them become background, become white noise, become the sound of life happening all around you. The fire crackles. No fire here. No heat beyond what rises from the rooms below, from the bodies of hundreds of people packed into this building. Human warmth, collective, shared whether you want it or not. But you imagine fire. You remember fire from Ellis Island. No, from before. From home. From the stove in your mother's kitchen. From the hearth in your grandparents' house. Fire is comfort. As gathering point as the center of home. You don't have that now. Don't know when you will again, or if, but the memory remains. The knowledge of what warmth feels like, what home feels like. That's enough. Has to be enough. Your breathing slows, deepens. The rhythm steadies in, out and out. Your body relaxes by degrees. Tension draining from muscles held tight for too long. For the entire day, for the entire journey, you made it. You're here. Against all odds, against all fears, despite everything, you made it. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, its own fears, its own struggles. But tonight, you have a bed. You have shelter. You have survived the first day. That's victory enough. Your eyes grow heavy. The sounds of the building fade. Not gone, just distant. Like listening underwater. Like hearing the world from inside a dream. Sleep pulls at you. Gentle, insistent. You let it take you down deeper into darkness, into rest, into the first night of your new life. And then silence, complete silence. Not real silence. The building still makes noise. The city still roars outside. But inside your head, inside your consciousness, inside the space where thoughts live, silence. You pause. You can hear your own breathing. Slow, deep, in, out, in, out. The world holds its breath with you, and then gently it continues. Light, not bright, not morning in the tenement sunlight. The air shaft window doesn't allow sunlight, but light nonetheless. The gray of early morning, the promise of day beginning. Your eyes open slowly, reluctantly. Sleep releases you by degrees. The ceiling above shows the same cracks, the same water stains. For a moment, you don't remember where you are. The unfamiliarity is total disorienting. Then memory returns. Ellis Island, the ferry, the streets, this room, this bed, this new reality. You sit up, your body protests, muscles stiff from yesterday's exertions, from sleeping in one position on an uncomfortable mattress, from the general accumulation of stress and strain. You stretch carefully, feeling each joint, each muscle, taking inventory. Everything works, everything hurts, but everything works. The sounds of the building are different in the morning. Less angry, less desperate, more resigned. People waking, beginning their days, the heavy tread of workers heading to factories, the lighter steps of women going to markets. Children, in being hushed, fed, prepared for whatever the day holds. You stand, walk to the window, look out at the brick wall. Snow fell during the night. You can see it accumulated on window ledges in the air shaft. Small white lines against dark brick. Beautiful in its own way. If you squint, if you imagine you need water, need to wash, need to use the toilet, the landlady said down the hall. You put on your boots, don't bother lacing them fully. This is just a quick trip. You'll come back, get properly dressed, figure out breakfast. The hallway's dim. One window at each end admits weak light. Between them shadows pool. Doors line both sides, all closed, all hiding their own stories, their own struggles, their own small attempts at building lives. You find the toilet, a single room shared by all the residents of this floor. Maybe 15 rooms, maybe more, all sharing one toilet. The thought is unpleasant. The reality is worse. The room is small, filthy. The smell makes you gag, but necessity overrides disgust. You do what you must. Leave as quickly as possible. The water is in a different room, larger. 2 large barrels filled with water. A bucket and dipper hanging from a nail. You fill the bucket. The water is cold, ice cold, but it's water, clean enough. You carry it back to your room. Washing is quick, efficient. Strip to the waist. Use a rag from your bundle. Dip it in the cold water. Scrub. The shock of cold against skin brings you fully awake, fully present. You wash your face, your neck, under your arms, your chest. Then dry with another rag. Dress again. The warmth of clothing is welcome after the cold water. You need to find work. That's the priority. That's the necessity. Your money will last maybe 2 weeks if you're very careful. Less if you eat properly. You need income, need employment, need to begin the process of actually living here instead of just surviving. Tea first, breakfast. You leave your room, lock the door, head downstairs, out into the street. The city is the morning streets, different in morning. Same buildings, same streets. But the quality of light changes everything. Makes the grime less obvious. Makes the desperation less visible. Morning light has hope in it. Evening light has resignation. It's the same place, but your perception shifts. The snow has stopped. The streets are white in patches, black in others, where traffic has already passed. Where people have walked, the snow is already turning to slush, brown and gray, mixed with street dirt and horse manure and all the other detritus of urban life. Vendors are setting up, arranging their wares. The vegetable sellers pile apples into pyramids, stack potatoes in careful rows, hang onions in nets, making everything look abundant, appealing, worth buying. The bread seller is already busy. A line of women wait, each with their few pennies, each calculating how much they can buy, how much they need, how to make it last. You join the line. The smell of fresh bread is intoxicating. Yeast, warmth, the promise of sustenance. Your stomach responds urgently, demanding. When did you last eat properly? The chestnuts yesterday. Before that, you can't remember clearly. The line moves slowly. Each woman takes her time, choosing carefully. The bread seller is patient, a large woman with arms like a man's, strong from years of kneading dough, lifting pans, working ovens. She wraps each purchase in paper, takes the money, gives change when necessary. The transaction is familiar, comfortable. She's done this thousands of times. Your turn, the small loaf. She nods, selects one, wraps it. 2 cents. You hand over the coins, take the loaf. It's still warm. The warmth seeps through the paper into your hands. Precious. You hold it carefully, protectively. You step away from the vend, or find a spot against a wall, out of the flow of foot traffic. Unwrap the loaf, break off a piece. The crust cracks. The interior is soft, pale. You eat it slowly, trying to make it last, trying to savor. The bread is slightly sour, dense. Good bread. Real bread. Not fancy, not delicate, but honest, filling. The kind of bread that gives energy that sustains. You eat half the loaf, standing there against the wall, watching the street come alive. The city waking, people moving with purpose, with destination, with the routines of established lives. You need that. Need routine, need purpose, need to become part of this flow. Instead of watching it from the outside, you wrap the remaining bread, put it in your coat pocket, save it for later. For when hunger strikes again, you're learning to think ahead, to plan, to make resources stretch, work. You need to find work. But where? How? You don't know anyone, don't have connections, don't have recommendations. You have only your body, your willingness, your desperation. There must be places, factories, workshops, places that need labor, unskilled labor, the kind anyone can do. The kind that requires no English beyond basic commands, no training beyond showing up and following instructions. You start walking, no clear direction, just walking, looking, observing. The neighborhood reveals itself slowly, block by block. Each street similar but different. Tenements here, shops there, a synagogue, a church, a small park that's really just a patch of dirt with a few benches. You see men standing on street corners. Groups of them, 10, 15, just standing waiting. You approach one group. Listen. They're speaking Italian loudly, nervously, waiting for something. Someone. A man approaches them, well-dressed, American. He looks over the group, points. You, and you. 4 men step forward, eager, relieved, factory work. 10 hours, 30 cents. Follow me. The 4 men follow. The rest remain deflated, disappointed, but still hopeful, still waiting. Another man might come. Another factory might need workers. The day is young. You understand now? This is how it works. Men gather, employers come, select who they want, take them away. The unselected wait for the next opportunity. You join the group, stand with them, wait. Time passes, minutes, an hour, maybe more. Your feet hurt. Your legs ache, but you stand because sitting means giving up, means signaling you're not serious, not desperate enough. Another man comes, looks over the group, looks at you, past you, points to others. 6 men loading docks. Today only 25 cents. Let's go. 6 men leave. You're not among them. You wait. The group shrinks, grows. Men come, men leave. Some selected, some giving up. New men arrive, hopeful, fresh, not yet worn, down by hours of standing. The cold seeps into your bones. The morning warmth is long gone. Afternoon approaches. Your breath clouds in the air. Your hands are numb despite your gloves. An older man next to you speaks in your language. Surprising first day looking, you nod. He laughs without humor. You'll learn mornings are best. Afternoon, fewer jobs. Come early tomorrow, 6 o'clock in the morning. Better chance. Where are you from? He names a city not far from your own hometown. Almost neighbors. In the old country, you might have known each other. Here, you're strangers united only by language and desperation. How long have you been here? 3 months I work sometimes. 2 days, 3 days, then nothing for a week is hard. But is better than home? There no work at all. Here sometimes work, sometimes hope. He falls silent, you both wait. The afternoon wears on. No more employers come. The group begins to dissolve. Men drift away to try other corners, other opportunities, or just to give up for the day. To try again, Talmer, Owl. You're about to leave when a boy runs up. Maybe 12 years old, breathing hard. Anyone want work? Warehouse moving boxes until 6, 20 cents. 5 men step forward, including you. Including the older man. The boy looks you over, nods. Follow me. You follow through streets you don't recognize into neighborhoods you can't name. The boy walks fast. You struggle to keep up after standing so long, but you keep pace. You can't lose this. Can't lose this opportunity. The warehouse is maybe 15 minutes away. A large brick building with loading docks on one side. Inside, boxes stacked to the ceiling. Wooden crates of all sizes. The smell is wood and dust and whatever the boxes contain. A supervisor meets you, American, middle-aged, tired-looking. He explains in simple English. Move boxes from here to there. Stack them neatly. Don't break anything. You'll get paid at 6. You understand enough. The others understand enough. Work begins. The first box is heavier than expected. You grip it with both the Warhaw's hands. Lift. Feel the strain in your back. in your arms, in your legs. You carry it to the indicated spot, set it down carefully, turn back for another and another. The work is mindless, repetitive, exactly what you expected, exactly what you need. No thinking required, no decisions. Just lift, carry, stack, repeat. Your body finds a rhythm. Bend, grip, lift, walk, set down, return. The motions become automatic. Your mind drifts, disconnects from your body, lets your muscles work while your thoughts wander. You think about home, about the village you left, the house, the family, the life that no longer exists for you. You wonder what they're doing now, whether they think of you, whether they'll regret your leaving or celebrate it, whether the money you'll send when you have money to send will make a difference. You think about tomorrow, about finding this store, 8 corner again, about standing and waiting, about hoping to be selected, about the uncertainty of work, of income, of survival. The boxes pile up. The afternoon passes. Light through the warehouse window shifts, weakens. The shadows grow longer, darker. Your back aches. Your arms shake with each lift. Your hands are raw despite your gloves. Blisters forming, breaking, forming again. But you don't stop. Can't stop. Need to prove you can do this. Need to earn those 20 cents. Need to show you're worth hiring again if there isn't again. The other workers are silent. No talking, no conversation. Just work. Everyone focused on the same goal. Get through this. Get paid. Get home. The older man from the street corner works near you. He moves slowly, carefully, conserving energy, using leverage instead of strength. Wisdom of experience. You watch him try to copy his technique. It helps a little. Time crawls. Each box feels like an eternity. Each trip across the warehouse floor stretches impossibly long, but gradually the pile diminishes. The work nears completion. The supervisor walks through, checks progress, nods. Satisfied. Nods. Satisfied. Finish that section, then stop. Relief floods through you. The end is in sight, defined, achievable. You push harder. The final boxes. Make them count. Make them prove your worth. The last box settled. The last stack completed. You straighten. Feel your spine protest. Feel muscles you didn't know you had screaming their existence. The supervisor returns. Nods. Good. Line up. You line up with the others. 5 men standing in a row, exhausted, dirty, hopeful. The supervisor pulls coins from his pocket, counts them, hands each man 4 nickels, 20 cents. Exactly as promised, you pocket your coins. The weight is insignificant, but the meaning is enormous. You've earned money in America through your own labor, the first money of your new life. Anyone want work? Tomorrow? Same job, same pay. 4 hands go up, including yours. Be here at 7. Don't be late. You nod. Memorize the route, the landmarks, the turns. You'll be here early, ready. The supervisor dismisses you. The 5 men scatter, each heading their own direction, back to their own tenements, their own struggles, their own attempts at building lives. You walk back toward your neighborhood. The streets are darkening. Gas lamps flicker to life. The quality of light shifts, evening approaching, day ending. Your body is exhausted, but your mind is light. You worked. You earned money. You have work again tomorrow. For today, that's enough. More than enough. The fire crackles. Somewhere in this city, fires burn. In thousands of tenements, in hundreds of restaurants, in homes and factories, and everywhere, humans gather against the cold. You imagine them. Draw comfort from the knowledge. Even if you can't see them, even if you can't feel their warmth, they exist. You reach your building, climb the stairs. Each step is a negotiation. Your legs barely cooperate, but you climb floor after floor until you reach your door. Inside, the room is exactly as you left it. Small, dark, cold, but yours, your shelter, your base, the place you'll return to tomorrow after another day of work. You light the small lamp on the table. The wick catches, flame grows, weak and flickering, but enough to push back the darkness. Enough to see by. You count your money, the 20 cents from today, the remaining dollars from your exchange. Calculate how long it will last, how many days of work you need, how to balance food and rent, and the thousand small expenses that accumulate. The math is tight, uncomfortable, but possible. If you work every day, if nothing goes wrong, if you stay healthy, if you worked. Today you worked. Today you earned. Today you survived. Tomorrow will take care of itself. You eat the remaining bread from breakfast slowly, making it last. It's not enough. Your stomach still feels hollow, but it's something. Tomorrow, with money in your pocket, you can buy more, buy better, but tonight this is enough. You lie down on the bed. Don't bother undressing. Too tired, too cold. You pull the blanket over yourself. Close your eyes. The building sounds surround you. Familiar now. After just one night, the arguments, the crying, the footsteps, the sounds of life happening in tight quarters. You breathe in, out. Your breathing slows, deepens. Sleep comes faster tonight. Easier. Earned through physical exhaustion, through honest labor. You drift down away into darkness, into dreams, into rest. Time passes not linearly. Not in neat days become weeks, increments you can count, but in waves, in accumulations. Days blend into weeks. Weeks blur into something approaching routine. You wake, you work, you sleep, repeat. The warehouse job lasts 5 days, then ends. No explanation, no warning, just the supervisor saying, no more work. Come back in a month, maybe something. Then you return to standing on corners, waiting, being selected. Sometimes being passed over others. The work when it comes varies. Loading docks one day, cleaning streets another, shoveling snow, moving furniture, digging, carrying, lifting, whatever needs doing, whatever pays. The money is never quite enough, but it's also never nothing. You learn to calculate, to budget, to make a dollar stretch across a week, to know which vendors sell cheapest, which day the bread is freshest, when to buy, when to wait. You learn the city, block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, where the work is, where the cheap food is, where to avoid, where to go, when desperate. You learn the people, the other workers, the ones you see repeatedly on the same corners waiting for the same jobs. You exchange sometimes names, rarely more. Everyone carries their own struggle, their own story. No energy for others' stories when your own is all-consuming. You learn English by necessity, by immersion. Words for tools, for directions, for amounts, for yes and no. And I understand and I don't understand. Your vocabulary expands in practical directions. Work words, survival words, the language of getting by. The room remains the same. Small, dark, cold, but it becomes familiar. The cracks in the ceiling, the wobble in the chair, the way the window sticks when you try to open it, the smell of the air shaft, the sounds of your neighbors. All of it becomes normal, becomes home, or close enough. Winter deepens, the cold intensifies, snow falls more frequently. The wind cuts sharper, work becomes harder to find. Fewer jobs, more men competing for them. You stand on corners in bitter cold hours, sometimes getting selected, often not, but you survive. That's the achievement, that's the victory. Each day ended is proof of success. Each morning woken to is another chance. The bar is low, but you clear it repeatedly. Outside snow falls, soft, silent, endless. You watch it from your window, the small view between buildings, white flakes drifting down, covering the filth, making everything clean temporarily, beautifully until morning, until traffic returns, until the reality reasserts itself. But for now, at night, watching snowfall, it's peaceful. It's almost beautiful. You breathe slow, steady, in, out, in, out. The world outside continues. The city never sleeps, never stops, never rests. But you do. You must. Your body demands it, requires it. You sleep and dream. Of what? You're never quite sure. Fragments, images. Sometimes the old country, sometimes this new place, sometimes a blend of both. A confused of memory and present and hopes for future. But you sleep and wake and work and leap again and again. The rhythm of immigrant life. The cycle of survival, the endless present tense of making it through. One day, then another, until days become weeks, until weeks become months, until this life, this strange, this hard, this hopeful life becomes your life. Simply actually real. And then silence, complete silence. You pause in your existence, in your routine, in your cycle. You can hear your own breathing. Slow, deep, in, out, in, out. The world holds its breath with you. The snow continues falling. Soft, silent, endless. And you're here on Ellis Island, in New York, in America. In this moment, in this life, you made it. Against all odds, against all fears. Through all struggles, you're here. And that is enough. Weeks pass. Maybe a month, maybe more. Time has lost its letter home precise edges. Days blur together. But one morning, you wake with a thought that won't leave. You need to write home, not want, need. The distinction is important. You've been avoiding it. The thought of putting words to paper, of trying to explain this life, this reality. How do you describe something so far from what anyone at home can imagine? But you must. They're waiting, wondering, worrying. Probably. Your absence is a hole in their lives. At least you owe the knowledge. Proof you're alive. Proof you arrived. You need paper, an envelope, a stamp. These things cost money. Money you can barely spare, but necessity overrides economy. After work, a day of shoveling coal, your clothes black with dust, your lungs roar. You stop at a small shop. The sign outside advertises writing supplies. Letters sent fair prices. Letters sent fair prices. Inside, the shop is narrow. Dark shelves line the walls, packed with paper goods, notebooks, ledgers, envelopes of all sizes. Behind a counter, an old man sits. His glasses are thick. They magnify his eyes to an unsettling size. Yes, paper, envelope, stamp to Europe. He nods, reaches behind him without looking. His hands know where everything is. He places items on the counter. 10 cents total. Expensive but fair. You hand over a dime. He doesn't offer change. There is none. He wraps the items in brown paper, hands them across. Pen is there. He points to a small desk in the corner. Ink bottle. Several pens. You write here if you need. No charge. You're grateful. Writing in your cold room would be difficult. Your hands would shake. The ink would freeze. Here at least is warmth. Light. A proper surface. You sit at the small desk. Unwrap your purchases. The paper is thin, almost translucent. The envelope is simple, brown. The stamp shows an American president. You're not sure which one. You dip the pen in ink, hold it poised above paper. How to begin? The standard greeting feels inadequate, too formal, too distant. But what else is there? You write the date, the address, your greeting, then pause. What do you say? That you're living in a room the size of a closet? That you work when you can find work? That you're hungry more often than not? That America is harder than you imagined, colder, more indifferent? No, you can't say that. Can't burden them with the truth. They sent you here with hope, with dreams, with sacrifices they made to give you this chance. You can't repay that with despair. So you lie gently, carefully. You write that you arrived safely, that Ellis Island was challenging but manageable, that you found a room immediately, that work is plentiful, that you're learning English, that the city is amazing, overwhelming, full of opportunity, all of it true. Technically, in the most optimistic interpretation, you write that you're saving money, that soon you'll send some home, that they shouldn't worry, that you're fine, healthy, hopeful. The lies feel necessary, feel kind, feel like the only gift you can give them. You write that you miss them. That part, at least, is entirely true. You miss them with an ache that never quite fades, that surfaces at odd moments when you hear your language spoken on the street, when you smell food that reminds you of home, when you wake in the night and forget for a moment where you are. You sign the letter, fold it, slide it into the envelope, seal it with water from a small bowl on the desk, write the address on the front. Your handwriting is shaky, unpracticed, but legible. You affix the stamp, press it firmly, making sure it adheres. Done. The old man behind the counter watches, waiting. You bring him the letter. Outgoing mail. You nod. He takes it, places it in a wooden box with other letters. We'll go tomorrow. 3 weeks, maybe 4, depending. 3 weeks a month. By the time they receive this, your circumstances might have changed completely. You might have found steady work, or be starving, or be somewhere else entirely. The letter is a snapshot of this moment, already outdated by the time you sealed it, but it will reach them. That's what matters. It will tell them you're alive, that you remember them, that the distance is physical, not emotional. You leave the shop, step back into the cold evening. The act of writing has stirred something inside you, something uncomfortable, homesickness mixed with guilt mixed with determination. You walk back to your tenement slowly, looking at the city with fresh eyes, with the eyes of someone describing it to others. What would you tell them about these streets, these buildings, these people? The truth is too complex, too contradictory. America is simultaneously everything promised and nothing like expected. It's opportunity and exploitation, freedom and desperate poverty, hope and crushing indifference. How do you put that in a letter? How do you explain that you're both grateful to be here and terrified you've made a mistake? You can't. So you sent lies wrapped in truth or truth wrapped in lies. You're not sure which. The evening darkens, gas lamps flicker on. You climb the stairs to your room. Each step familiar now. The creak on the 5th step, the loose banister on the 2nd landing, the smell of cabbage on the 3rd floor. All of it part of your daily experience, part of your new normal. Inside your room, you light the lamp. Sit on your bed. Your body aches from the day's work. Cold dust still clings to your skin despite washing. It's in your pores, under your nails, in the creases of your hands. You'll carry it for days, but you work today, earn money today, survived today. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, its own small victories, its own accumulation of experience that somehow gradually adds up to a life. You lie down, pull the blanket over yourself. The wool scratches, but it's warm. That's what matters. Outside, snow begins to fall again. You watch it through your small window. The flakes drifting past, infinite, eternal, beautiful in their indifference. The fire crackles somewhere, everywhere in this building, in this city, in this country. Fires burn against the cold, against the darkness, against the endless winter. You close your eyes. Breathe in, out, and drift into sleep, into dreams, into the mercy of unconsciousness, where nothing hurts, where everything is possible, where home and here somehow exist in the same space, together, peacefully, at least until morning. Word the settlement house spreads on the street corners between men waiting for work, whispered. Shared information passed like currency. There's a place, a building where immigrants can go for help, for English lessons, for advice. They call it the settlement house. You hear about it multiple times before you believe it. Free help in America. Nothing is free in America. Everything costs. Everything is transaction. But the stories persist. Multiple men confirm it. They've been there. Use the services. It exists. It's real. You decide to try. What do you have to lose? A few hours? You have hours. More hours than you have work. The address circulates. You memorize it. One evening after a short day of work. Just 4 hours minimal pay, you walk to the location. The building is different from the tenements, newer, cleaner. 4 stories of red brick with large windows that actually have glass. All of them. A sign above the door reads, Neighborhood House. All welcome. You hesitate at the door. The impulse to avoid institutions, to avoid places where questions get asked, where papers might be checked, where your status might be questioned. But the door is open. People enter freely. No one stops them. No one checks. You take a breath, step inside. Warmth, immediate, overwhelming, real warmth. Not the barely there warmth of body heat. Actual heat from radiators, from a furnace somewhere in the building. The kind of warmth you haven't felt since leaving the old country. The entrance hall is bright, clean wooden floors that shine with polish. Walls painted white. Fresh paint, not yellowed or peeling, Actual maintained white. People crowd the hallway, some sitting on benches along the walls, some standing in clusters, talking, waiting. All immigrants from their clothes, from their faces, from the mixture of languages floating through the air. A woman approaches you, young American. She wears a simple dark dress. Her hair is pulled back, her face is open, friendly. She smiles. Hello. First time here. You nod. Welcome. I'm Miss Sarah. I work here. What do you need? English lessons, job help, legal advice. The kindness in her voice is almost overwhelming. When was the last time someone asked what you needed? When someone offered help without expecting payment? English, you manage. I need better English. Of course, we have classes every Tuesday and Thursday evenings, 7 o'clock, but also Monday and Wednesday mornings, 10 o'clock. Which works better for you? Evening. I work when I can find work. She nods, understanding, not judging. Evening class it is. Your first class is free. After that, we ask 5 cents per class. Can you manage that? 5 cents cheap, more than free, but manageable. You nod. Wonderful. The class is in room 12, second floor. Would you like to see it? We don't have class tonight, but I can show you where to go. Yes, please. She leads you through the building past rooms where you glimpse different activities. A room full of women sewing. A room where children sit at desks studying. A room where men practice writing on a large chalkboard. Everything is clean, organized, purposeful. This building has intention, has mission. It's not just happening randomly like the tenements us. This is designed, created, maintained. You climb stairs. These stairs are different from your tenement stairs. Wider, solid, well-lit, no creaking, no wear. You're not used to stairs like this. Second floor, a hallway, doors on both sides. Numbers painted neatly beside each door. Room 12, Miss Sarah opens the door. Inside, desks are arranged in rows, maybe 20 desks. A blackboard at the front. Windows along one wall, letting in light even at this evening hour. This is where you'll learn. We have excellent teachers. Mr. Peterson teaches the evening class. He's very patient, very good at explaining. Many students have learned from him. You look at the desks, the blackboard, the clean, bright room. Something in your chest tightens. Hope maybe, or fear that this is too good, that it will be taken away. That you don't deserve it. Thank you, you say. The words feel inadequate, but they're all you have. You're welcome. That's why we're here to help. Now, let me show you something else. She leads you back downstairs to a different room. This one has tables, chairs, shelves lined with books, actual books. Hundreds of them. Our library. You can borrow books free. Just sign your name here. She points to a ledger on a table and return the books within 2 weeks. Do you read English? A little? Not good. We have books in other languages too. Maybe something from your country to remind you of the home. The thought is painful and appealing simultaneously to read in your own language to remember. But also maybe it would make the homesickness worse. Make the distance more real. I'll think about it. Of course, take your time, look around, and if you need anything, come find me or any of the staff. We're here to help. She leaves you there in the library, surrounded by books, by warmth, by the strange reality that this place exists, that people created it, maintain it, staff it for free, or nearly free, out of some impulse you don't quite understand. Charity, guilt, religious duty, genuine compassion. You're not sure, but you're grateful. Whatever the motivation, the result is this. This building, this warmth, this help. You walk along the bookshelves, running your fingers along the spines. So many books, so much knowledge, so many stories. All available, all accessible. If only you could read them better. You will learn. That's why you're here. That's what this place offers. The tools to improve, to grow, to become more capable in this new world. You stay in the library for an hour, just sitting, just being warm, just existing in a space that isn't your cold room or a street corner or a warehouse. Eventually, you leave out into the cold evening, back to your neighborhood, back to your tenement, back to your small, dark room. But something has shifted. You have a plan now, a direction. Tuesday evening English A. Lass, a step towards something better, something more than just surviving. The fire crackles here in the settlement house, in the radiators that pump heat through the building. Real fire, furnace fire, coal burning in the basement to create warmth for all. Shared warmth, community warmth. You think about it as you walk. About fires, about warmth, about the difference between cold isolation and warm community. Your room is cold. The settlement house is warm. The metaphor is too obvious, too neat, but also true. You climb your stairs into your room. The cold greets you like always, but tonight it feels less oppressive. Because Tuesday is coming, because you have somewhere to go, because learning is possible. You lie down, pull your blanket close, close your eyes. Sleep comes easier tonight, faster, with less anxiety gnawing at the edges because tomorrow is just tomorrow. But Tuesday is a step forward. Tuesday is progress. Tuesday is hope in the form of English lessons and a warm classroom and a teacher named Mr. Peterson who is patient. That's enough for tonight. The English class that's more than enough. Tuesday evening arrives. You finish work early. A rare luck. Just 6 hours instead of 10. Enough time to go back to your room. Wash quickly in cold water. Change into your cleaner shirt, the one you save for occasions that matter. This matters. You walk to the settlement house. The evening is cold but clear. No snow, stars visible between buildings, rare sight in the city. Usually smoke and light pollution obscure them. But tonight, in gaps you see them, distant, unreachable. But there the settlement house glows with light. Every window illuminated, warm yellow light spilling onto the street. You can see movement inside, people, activity, life happening in warmth and purpose. You enter. The warmth envelops you immediately. You pause in the entrance hall. Let your body adjust. Let the cold drain from your limbs. Other people cluster in the hall. Immigrants like yourself waiting for classes, waiting for meetings, waiting for whatever services bring them here. You recognize a few faces from street corners, from waiting for work. Nods of recognition pass. Nothing more. Everyone carries their own purpose. You find the stairs, climb to the second floor. Find room 12. The door is open. Inside, maybe 15 people already seated at desks. You take an empty seat near the back, near the door, leaving yourself an exit. If this becomes too much, too hard, too overwhelming, the desk is small, meant for children maybe, but adequate. The chair is wooden, solid, no wobble like your chair at home. Everything here is maintained, cared for. A man enters tall, thin, maybe 40 years old, brown hair receding, glasses. He carries books and papers, sets them on the desk at the front of the room. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. Peterson. Welcome to English class. His voice is clear, slow, deliberately so. He enunciates each word, making sure everyone can hear, can understand. Tonight we'll start with basics, the alphabet, common words. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. We'll repeat. We'll practice. Learning takes time. He writes on the blackboard, large letters A, B, C, D. Let's start with the alphabet. Everyone say after me. A. The class responds. 15 voices, 15 accents, 15 different ways of shaping that single letter. B. He continues through the alphabet. Patient, never rushing. If someone struggles with the sound, he repeats it, shapes his mouth clearly so they can see, can imitate. You find some letters easy, others impossible. The sound doesn't exist in your language. Your tongue doesn't know how to make it. You try. It comes out wrong. You try again. Still wrong. Mr. Peterson notices. It's okay. That's one of the hardest sounds. Put you jun between your teeth like this. He demonstrates exaggerated. Then blow air. Feels ridiculous. Unnatural, but you try. It feels ridiculous. Unnatural, but you try. Better keep practicing. It will come. The class continues after the alphabet. Common words. Hello. Goodbye. Yes. No. Please. Thank you. The building blocks of basic communication. He writes. Each word on the board says it clearly. Has the class repeat. then uses it in a simple sentence, shows how words connect, how meaning builds. Hello, I say hello when I meet someone. Hello, how are you? Now you try. Turn to the person next to you. Say hello. Ask how are you. The room fills with tentative greetings, nervous laughter, everyone stumbling through unfamiliar sounds, but trying. Everyone trying. The person next to you is a woman, maybe 30, Italian from her accent when she speaks. She turns to you, smiles shyly. Hello, how you? Hello, I am fine. And you? I am fine, thank you. The exchange is stilted, formal, but it works. Communication happened, meaning transferred. Success, however small. Mr. Peterson smiles. Excellent. You're all doing wonderfully. Now, let's try some more words. The class continues for 2 hours, every minute filled with learning, with repetition, with patient correction. Mr. Peters never shows frustration, never makes anyone feel stupid. He treats every mistake as a learning opportunity, every question is valid. By the end, your head aches, too much information, too many new sounds, too much concentration, but also exhilaration. You learned, actually learned. You can feel new words, new sounds settling into your brain, taking root. That's all for tonight. Please practice at home. Repeat these words, the alphabet. Say them out loud. It will help. I'll see you all Thursday. Same time. People gather their things, file out slowly. Some talking to each other in their native languages, comparing notes, sharing confusion, building community through shared struggle. You leave the building, step into the cold night, but you don't feel the cold as sharply. Your mind is too busy repeating words, practicing sounds. Hello, goodbye, thank you. How are you? The walk back to your tenement passes quickly. Lost in mental repetition, lost in the strange new shapes your mouth must make to speak English properly. Inside your room, you don't immediately lie down. Instead, you light your lamp, take out paper, the last sheet from your letter writing purchase. You write the alphabet carefully, A through Z. Your handwriting is poor, unpracticed, but you write each letter, naming it aloud as you do. A B, C, D. Your voice sounds strange in the empty room, self-conscious. But you continue because Mr. Peterson said to practice because learning requires effort, because improvement is possible. You practice until the lamp oil runs low, until your hand cramps, until the words blur on the page. Then you sleep and dream in English fragments, words without context but English. Your brain processing working even in sleep, building new neural pathways, creating new possibilities. Morning comes, the words remain the learning sticks. You wake with hello on your lips, with thank you ready for use with tools you didn't have yesterday, with capability that's growing. It's a good feeling. A hopeful feeling, a feeling that says, maybe, just maybe, you can do this, can make this work, can build something here. One word at a time, one class at a time, one day at a time. Forward, always forward. And then silence, complete silence. You pause in your learning, in your striving, in your endless forward motion. You can hear your own breathing, slow, deep, and out and out. The English words quiet in your mind, settling, finding their places, becoming part of you. The world holds its breath with you. Outside, snow begins to fall again, soft, silent, endless. The night deepens around you and you rest in the knowledge that tomorrow brings another class, another chance, another step toward fluency, toward capability, toward becoming someone who belongs here. Not yet. But someday, slowly, surely, you drift into sleep, into darkness, into the patient progression of learning, where every day adds something new, where every word is a brick in a foundation, where the building never stops, only pauses, only rests before beginning again. Months pass. Winter loosens its grip slowly. Spring arrives reluctantly. But it happens. The snow melts, the ice retreats. The temperature rises degree by degree until one day you realize you're not constantly cold anymore. Spring in New York is not dramatic, Not like spring in the countryside. There are no fields of flowers, no sudden explosion of green, just a gradual thawing, a softening. The city remains hard, but the air changes, becomes breathable, becomes hope-centered instead of despair-centered. Work increases. Construction projects resume after winter pours. Warehouses need more hands. Docks become busy with spring shipping. You find work more regularly. Not every day, but more days than not. The money accumulates slowly, painfully slowly, but it accumulates. You send money home, a small amount, carefully wrapped, sent through a service that charges too much, but at least is reliable. You include a brief note. Everything is fine. Work is steady. Don't worry. Learning English, making progress. All of it true. Mostly true. True enough. Your English improves. Mr. Peterson's class continues every Tuesday and Thursday. You never miss. Rain or shine or exhaustion. You attend. The investment is too valuable. The progress too important. You can now have simple conversations. Can ask for work in proper English. Can understand instructions without needing them. Repeated 3 times. Can read signs. Can write basic letters. The transformation is real, measurable, profound. The settlement house becomes a center of your life, not just for classes, for community, for warmth, for the simple human need. To be around others who understand, who share your experience, your struggle, your strange mixture of hope and hardship. You make something like friends, acquaintances at least. Other men from your country, from neighboring countries, from across Europe, united by immigrant status, by shared circumstances, by the common project of building lives in this new place. One evening after class, the group gathers outside the settlement house, 6 men, including you. Someone suggests getting food, real food, not bread and cheese. A meal together. There's a small restaurant, German-owned, cheap, filling food. The group walks there through streets that feel less threatening now, less foreign. Familiarity has replaced fear. Not comfort exactly, but working. Knowledge. The restaurant is small, 10 tables, all occupied, but one opens as you arrive. The group claims it, crowds around. A waitress appears. Older woman, stern-faced but efficient. What you want? Someone orders. Stew, bread, beer. The same order repeated 6 times. The waitress nods, disappears. The food arrives, large bowls of stew, meat, potatoes, carrots, thick gravy. The smell is intoxicating. Your mouth waters. When was the last time you had hot stew? A meal that required a spoon instead of just fingers. You eat slowly, savoring. The meat is tough, the vegetables overcooked, but it's warm. It's substantial. It's communal. Around the table, conversation flows. Mix of languages, English, German, bits of Italian, and Polish. Everyone understanding enough. Communicating through a combination of words and gestures and shared context. Stories are exchanged where everyone is from, how they got here, what work they found, what their hopes are. The conversations feel important, feel like creating something community maybe, or just documentation. Proof that you all exist, that you're all here, that you're all trying. Someone might. In Tinian, Chicago says work is better there, factories need workers. Wages are higher, others disagree, say New York is better. More opportunity, more compatriots, safety in numbers. The debate continues, friendly, philosophical. No one really knows. No one has perfect information. Everyone is guessing, hoping, making decisions based on incomplete knowledge and desperate need. You mostly listen, occasionally contributing, but mainly absorbing, learning from others' experiences, others' mistakes, others' small victories. The meal ends, bill comes, divided by 6, 30 cents each. Expensive, but worth it for the food, for the company, for the 2 hours of feeling normal, of feeling human instead of just surviving. The group disperses, walk in different directions, back to different tenements, different rooms, different small lives. You walk slowly, not ready to return to your room yet. The evening is mild, almost warm. The air smells of rain, of growth, of the city waking from winter hibernation. You find yourself walking toward the waterfront, toward the docks, toward where you arrived all those months ago. How many months? 4, 5. You've lost exact count. Time's become liquid, flowing without clear markers. The water appears between buildings, the harbor, black and restless reflecting lights from both shores. Ferry lights, ship lights, the endless traffic of a port city. You stand at the edge, looking out, remembering the ferry crossing, the fear, the hope, the utter uncertainty, all still present. Fear, hope, uncertainty, but changed, tempered by experience, by survival, by the simple fact that you're still here, still standing, still moving forward. Ellis Island is visible, dark shape against darker sky, lights burning in windows. The processing continues, always continues, always continues. New arrivals every day, new stories, new struggles, new attempts at building lives. You were there. Tob seems like yesterday, seems like years ago, both equally true. The fire crackles somewhere on Ellis Island. In the great building, fires burn, keeping officials warm, keeping the machinery of immigration functioning, never stopping, never resting. The endless sorting of humanity. But you're not there anymore. You're here on this shore in this city. You've crossed that threshold, passed that test, been approved, been accepted, been granted entry. What you do with that entry is now your responsibility, your burden, your opportunity. The water laps against wooden pilings, rhythmic, soothing, the sound of time passing, of tides changing, of the eternal flow that cares nothing for human struggles that existed before you. That will exist after that simply is. You breathe in, out, in, out. The rhythm matches the water, matches your heartbeat, matches the fundamental pulse of existence. You turn away from the water. Begin the walk home through streets you now know, past buildings that have become landmarks, left at the bakery, right at the corner with a broken lamppost, straight until you reach your building. Home. Strange word for a place so cold, so small, so temporary, but home nonetheless. For now, for this moment, for this phase of your life, you climb the familiar stairs, enter your familiar room, light your familiar lamp. Everything exactly as you left it. Nothing changes here. Nothing grows. Nothing improves. Just exists. Just provides shelter. Just is. But you've changed. That's what matters. You've grown. You've learned. You've survived months that many don't survive. You've built something. However small, however fragile, something real. You lie down. Close your eyes. Let the day drain away. Let sleep come. Tomorrow will bring work, or will bring challenges, opportunities, the unknown mixture of circumstance and choice that defines each day. But tonight you rest in the knowledge that you're doing it. Making it, building a life one day at a time, one word at a time, $1 at a time. Slowly, painfully, slowly, but forward, always forward, until forward becomes normal, becomes life, becomes simply what you do. And that is enough for tonight, for this moment, for now. Something shifts in late spring. The job that last man you've worked with before approaches you on the street corner. Before the morning selection process begins, before the employers arrive. I remember you. You work hard, don't complain, show up on time. You nod, cautious, uncertain where this is leading. My supervisor, he needs someone permanent, factory work, garment factory, 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, 60 cents a day. You interested? 60 cents a day, 6 days a week. That's 360 a week. Steady, reliable. More money than you've seen in any single week since arriving. Yes. Interested. Good. Come with me now. I take you. Interview. If he likes you, you start. Today, you follow. Heart pounding. This could be it. This could be the break you've needed. Steady work, regular income. The possibility of planning instead of just surviving day to day. The factory is 20 minutes away, 5 stories, brick, windows on every floor, most open despite the cool morning. You can hear machines inside, the clatter of industry, the sound of productivity. Inside, the noise intensifies. Sewing machines, hundreds of them, row after row, each operated by a worker bent over fabric. Focused, fast, the machines create a mechanical roar that makes conversation impossible. Your guide leads you through the work floor upstairs to an office on the third floor. Inside, relative quiet. A man sits at a desk piled with papers, ledgers, order forms. He looks up as you enter. This the one? Yes, sir. Hard worker, reliable. The supervisor looks at you, assessing, taking measure. He sees a young man, lean, hungry, desperate. Everything visible on your face, everything. He needs to know, you speak English? Yes, basic. I learn more. I take class. He nods, appreciates the effort, the ambition. Work is simple. Carrying fabric from cutting room to sewing floor, from sewing floor to finishing, back and forth all day. Can you do that? Yes, if I hire you, you show up every day on time. 6 o'clock morning. Don't care about weather. Don't care about tired. Don't care about sick. You show up, understand? I understand. Good. You start today, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Don't be late. That's it. No paperwork, no formal hiring, just verbal agreement. You have a job permanent, or as permanent as anything gets in this world. Thank you. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just work hard. Prove me right. Now go with Marcus. He show you what to do. Marcus, the man who brought you. He nods, leads you back out down to the main floor. The noise crashes over you again. Overwhelming, but you'll adjust. You must adjust. He shows you the cutting room where bolts of fabric arrive, where cutters use large shears to cut patterns, where pieces are stacked. Your job is to take these stacks, deliver them to the appropriate sewing stations, then return for more. Repeat all day. Simple work, physical work, but not skilled. Anyone can do it, but someone must do it. And today, you're that someone. You begin immediately learning the layout, which stacks go where, which seamstresses need which pieces, how to balance a large stack while walking quickly, how to navigate the crowded aisles without knocking into machines, into people, into the careful choreography of industrial production. The day is long, longer than any day yet, 10 hours. Your legs ache, your back screams, your arms feel like they'll fall off. But you don't stop, don't slow. Prove the supervisor right. Prove Marcus right. Prove you deserve this job. 6 o'clock arrives. The end bell rings. The machines fall silent. The sudden quiet is shocking. Your ears ring in the absence of noise. Workers file out tired, most silent, saving energy for the walk home. For whatever awaits there, you follow out into the evening. The air feels fresh after 10 hours of fabric dust and machine oil. You breathe deeply, grateful. A hand appears in front of you, Marcus, holding coins. Today's pay 60s. Tomorrow you come 6 o'clock. Yes, 6 o'clock. I will be there. He nods, disappears into the flow of workers. You pocket the coins. 60 cents earned through honest labor, through a full day of work. The feeling is profound. This is what you came for. This opportunity, this chance to trade time and effort for money, for survival, for the possibility of something more. You walk back to your neighborhood slowly, tired but satisfied. Your body hurts, but it's good hurt, earned hurt. The hurt of productivity instead of futility. You stop at the baker, buy fresh bread, a large loaf. You can afford it. You're employed. 6 days a week, regular income. You can make plans, can think beyond today. The bread is still warm. You tear off a piece, eat it while walking. The taste is perfect, enhanced by satisfaction, by accomplishment, by the simple fact that you bought it with money you earned through your own work at a real job. Your room welcomes you, still small, still dark, still cold, despite spring, but different now. This is the room of an employed person, someone with prospects, someone building something. You count your money. Today's 60 cents plus the accumulated remainder from previous work. Several dollars. More money than you've had at once since arriving. You separate it. Rent money, food money, class money, a small amount for savings. The first real savings of your American life. The math works now. Finally. 60 cents a day, 6 days equals 360 minus room re. Men of 3 minus food of maybe 50 minus class fees of 10 cents. That leaves a small amount. Not much, but something. Something you can save, something you can build on. Something that represents not just survival, but progress. You lie down on your bed, your body grateful for horizontal, for stillness, for the end of movement. The fire crackles in the factory, in the boiler room, providing steam, providing power. The machines require heat. Water must be heated. Steam must be generated. So fires burn day and night, keeping the factory alive, keeping production flowing, keeping jobs existing. Your job, your employment, your future, built on the foundation of burning coal, of steam pressure, of industrial process. Strange to think about, but true. Your fate tied to fires you'll never see, to coal shoveled by men you'll never meet, to systems and processes beyond your control or understanding. But the result is this: a job, income, stability, the building blocks of a life. You close your eyes, exhausted, satisfied. Tomorrow will be the same 10 hours as carrying fabric, of walking back and forth, of being a small cog in a large machine. But that's okay. Being a cog is better than being nothing. Being employed is better than being desperate. Having a role is better than being invisible. You'll take it gratefully and make it work. Make it enough. Make it the foundation for whatever comes next. Sleep comes fast, deep, the sleep of the exhausted, the employed, the person who worked hard and earned their rest. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock, you'll be there. And the day after, and after, week after week, building routine, building stability, building something that resembles a life. One day at a time, $1 at a time, until the dollars add up, until the days add up, until you've been here a year, 2 years, 5 years, until America stops being new and just becomes life. Your life, the only life you have, He one you chose, the one you built through work and persistence and the refusal to quit. That's the immigrant story. That's the American dream. Not riches, not fame, just this work, stability, the opportunity to build, to try to make something of nothing. And tonight, for the first time since arriving, you feel like maybe, just maybe, you can actually summer heat do it. Summer arrives brutally. The temperature climbs, the humidity rises, the city becomes a furnace. Brick buildings absorb heat all day, radiated all night. No relief, no escape. The factory is hellish. 10 hours in a 5th-floor workspace with machines generating their own heat. Windows open, but no breeze. Just more hot air entering to replace hot air inside. Workers collapse. Not often, but it happens. Women, mostly. The corsets they must wear don't allow proper breathing. Don't allow cooling. One woman faints every few days. They're dragged to the side. Water thrown on their faces. Return to work once conscious. You carry fabric through this heat. Sweating through your shirt by 8 o'clock in the morning. Dizzy by noon. Desperate by evening. But you continue. You show up 6 o'clock every morning. Never late. Never absent. Because the job is everything. The job is survival. The job is the thin line between making it and not making it. The tenement is worse. At least the factory has high ceilings, has some air movement. Your room is a box and oven. The heat accumulates with nowhere to go. You lie on your bed at night, sweating, unable to sleep. The thin blanket pushed aside, just a sheet. Even that feels like too much. The building empties at night. People can't stand being inside. People can't stand being inside. Everyone sits on stoops, on fire escapes, in the street. Anything for air, for the possibility of a breeze, for relief that never quite comes. You join them sitting on the front steps with other tenants. No one talks much. Too hot for conversation. Just sitting, breathing, existing, waiting for the temperature to drop enough to make sleep possible. Children run in the street. Some open a fire hydrant. Water gushes out. A fountain in the middle of the tenement canyon. Kids splash, scream with delight. Adults watch envious. The water looks so good, so cool, but it's for the children. The adults just watch, suffer quietly. Remember when they were young enough to run through street water without caring about appearances. Someone dies in your building. Heat death. An old man, third floor, lives alone. No one noticed until the smell. By then, days had passed. The bodies removed quietly. The room emptied. A new tenant moves in within a week. The cycle continues. One life out, another in. The city doesn't pause, doesn't mourn, just fills the space and moves on. The experience shakes you. Could be you. Could be anyone. Alone in a small room. No one noticing. No one caring until the smell. You resolve to connect more, to know your neighbors, to be known. Not friends necessarily, but acquaintances, people who would notice absence, who would check, who would care enough to investigate if you didn't appear for a few days. You start nodding to people in the hallway saying good morning. Simple interactions, but they matter. They create awareness. They build the thin web of community that prevents complete isolation. The heat continues, weeks of it. The city slows. People move less, talk less, conserve energy. Survival mode. Just getting through each day, each night, each moment of oppressive temperature. Work becomes harder. Tempers fray. Arguments break out on the factory floor. Pushing, shoving. The supervisor intervenes, breaks it up. Threats of firing. The arguments stop. Can't risk the job. Not even when the heat makes you crazy. Not even when the heat makes you crazy. Not even when every nerve is raw. The job matters more than pride, more than anger, more than temporary satisfaction of fighting back. You learn this. Watch it happen. Apply the lesson to yourself. Keep your head down. Keep working. Ignore provocations. Ignore frustrations. The goal is to keep the job. Everything else is secondary. One evening, unbearably hot, you walk to the settlement house. Maybe it will be cooler. Maybe they'll have ice. Maybe just the change of location will help. The building's open. Always open. Summer hours extended because people have nowhere else to go. The rooms are full, every space occupied by people seeking refuge from tenement heat. Miss Sarah is there. She looks as wilted as everyone else, but still working, still helping. She sees you, waves. Hot enough for you. The American expression rhetorical. But you answer anyway. Yes, very hot. She smiles. We have lemonade upstairs. Library room. Cool as we can make it. Go help yourself. Lemonade. The word sounds like heaven. Sweet, cold, wet, everything your body craves. You climb stairs. Enter the library. The room is crowded. People sitting on every available surface. Floor included, but quiet. The heat saps even the energy for conversation. A large pitcher sits on a table. Lemonade yellow, condensation on the glass. Ice floating. Actual ice. Precious, rare, expensive, given freely. You pour a cup, drink. The cold liquid hits your throat, your stomach, sends relief radiating through your body. Not just physical, emotional. The simple kindness of cold lemonade on a brutal day. The gift of someone caring enough to provide it. You sit in a corner, sipping slowly, making it last. Around you, others do the same. Everyone savoring, everyone grateful. The building is marginally cooler than outside, marginally cooler than the tenements' thick walls, high ceilings, better design. But mostly it's the community, the shared suffering made slightly less through being together, thrug. Each having somewhere to go, someone to provide cold drinks and a place to sit, someone who cares. You stay until evening, until closing. Then walk slowly back to your building. The night is still hot but bearable. You'll survive. Another day done. Another night to endure. Another morning to wake to. The pattern repeats. Days of brutal heat. Nights of impossible sleeping. Work that drains everything. Recovery that never quite completes before the next day begins. But you endure. You persist. You show up. You do the work. You keep the job. You save a few cents each week. You attend English class. You learn. You grow. You survive. That's the achievement. Not thriving, just surviving. Making it through summer, through heat that kills, through conditions that break people. You don't break. You bend, you flex, but you don't break. And slowly, imperceptibly, summer peaks. The heat begins to ease. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but degree by degree. Day by day, the worst passes. The crisis eases. Life continues. You made it. Through summer, through heat, through another challenge, in an endless series of challenges. You're still here, still working, still building, still moving forward. However slowly, however painfully, forward nonetheless. And that is what matters. And then silence, complete silence. You pause in your endurance, in your survival, in your endless forward motion. You can hear your own breathing. Slow, deep, despite the heat. In, out, in, out. In, out. The world holds its breath with you. Even the heat seems to pause, to wait, to acknowledge the effort, the struggle, the simple fact of continuing. Outside somewhere, a breeze finally stirs. Small, barely noticeable. But there, the first hint that change is coming, that seasons turn, that nothing lasts forever. Not winter, not summer, not struggle. Everything passes, everything changes, everything continues. You breathe into that knowledge and find in the breathing a kind of peace. Not happiness, not contentment, just peace. The acceptance of what is, the knowledge that you're doing it, making it, surviving. And for tonight, for this moment, that's enough. More than enough, you drift into whatever rest the heat allows, into whatever dreams still come despite exhaustion, into the mercy of unconsciousness, where the temperature doesn't matter, where struggle pauses, where for a few hours everything is weightless, everything is cool, everything is fine until morning when it begins again. Fall. The return to Ellis Island arrives, merciful, cool, comfortable. The city exhales, relief visible on every face. Everyone grateful simply to not be hot anymore. Work continues. The routine established. Wake, factory, return, sleep, repeat. The rhythm of industrial life, the pattern of immigrant existence. But something new develops, a policy change. You hear about it from other workers, from conversations on breaks, from rumors that flow through immigrant communities. Everyone must return to Ellis Island. Annual check, verification. Make sure you're still legally present, still meeting requirements, still deserving of the permission granted months or years ago. The news creates anxiety. What if they've changed their minds? What if some error in your paperwork surfaces? What if you fail some test you didn't know existed? But there's no choice. The notice arrives at your tenement. Official. Stamped. You must appear on a specific date. Bring your papers. Be prepared for rain. The date arrives. You take a day off work. First day off since starting. The supervisor isn't happy, but understands everyone must do this. It's not optional. You dress in your best clothes, the ones you save for important occasions. You gather your papers. Everything official. Everything you've accumulated. Proof of employment. Net proof of residence, proof of existence. The ferry to Ellis Island feels different this time. You know where you're going, know what to expect. But the anxiety remains, perhaps worse, because now you have something to lose. The first time you had nothing. This time you have a job, a room, a life. However tenuous, however small, it's yours and it could be taken away. The building looms as before. Red brick, tall windows, towers, American flags, all unchanged, indifferent to individual anxiety. Just a building doing its function, processing, sorting, deciding. Inside, the crowds are similar but different. Not new arrivals, return visitors. People like you already living in America, being verified, being checked, being reminded that permission is conditional, provisional, never guaranteed. The process is faster this time. They know you now have records. Just need to verify. Update, confirm. But still lines still waiting. Still the crushing anxiety of judgment. You stand in line. Hours pass. The routine is familiar but no less tedious, no less nerve-wracking. Finally, your turn. A different official from the first time. Older, grayer, but the same tired eyes, the same mechanical efficiency. Papers. You hand them over. He reviews, checks against a ledger, makes marks. His face reveals nothing. Still employed at the garment factory? Yes. Still residing at the same address? Yes. Any criminal activity? Any involvement with radical groups? No, none. He stamps your papers, hands them back. You're confirmed for another year. Report again next fall. Next. That's it. 30 seconds, after hours of waiting, after days of anxiety, after weeks of worrying. 30 seconds. Decide your fate. Approved. Another year. Permission granted. Permission to continue existing in America. The relief is physical. Your knees weaken. Your hands shake as you take back your papers. You move away from the desk. Join the flow toward the exit. Toward the ferry. Toward Manhattan. Toward your life. Outside you pause. Look back at the building one more time. This place that holds such power over you. Such control. This bottleneck through which millions must pass, must prove themselves, must earn the right to stay. You've passed again. But the knowledge that you must return, must prove yourself again, must continue earning permission. It's exhausting. It's infantilizing. But it's the reality. The price of being immigrant, being other, being forever provisional. The ferry carries you back. The crossing feels faster. Or maybe you're just relieved. The worst is over for another year. You can breathe, can relax, can return to the simple struggles of work and survival without this additional weight. Manhattan welcomes you. The city doesn't care that you've been gone, doesn't notice your return. Just continues its endless churn, taking what you give, giving what you earn. Indifferent but fair, cruel but consistent. You walk to the factory, even though it's late, even though the day is almost over. You want to tell the supervisor you're back. You're cleared. You can continue working. There's no threat to your employment. No reason to look for your replacement. The supervisor nods when you tell him, "Good, tomorrow 6 o'clock. Make up the hours you missed. No sympathy, no understanding, just pragmatism. You missed a day, you owe a day. That's the deal. That's always the deal. Yes. Tomorrow 6 o'clock you leave, walk back towards your neighborhood. The late afternoon light is beautiful, golden. The kind of full light that makes even tenement streets look almost romantic, almost acceptable. You feel what? Relief, certainly, but also something else. Recognition, maybe understanding. You're part of something larger, part of a process, part of a system. You're not unique, not special, just one of ions doing this, making it, building lives in a country that permits but doesn't welcome, that allows but doesn't embrace. But that's okay. You don't need welcome, don't need embrace. Just need permission, just need opportunity. The chance to work, to earn, to build, to exist. You have that for another year, for however long you can maintain it. For as long as you keep showing up, keep proving yourself, keep earning the right to stay. It's not the dream you imagined, but it's real. It's yours. It's enough. The fire crackles on Ellis Island in the great building. The same fires burning, the same machinery processing. The same endless cycle of people seeking permission, seeking acceptance, seeking the right to pursue something better. You've been granted that right again. The knowledge settles in your chest. Heavy, precious, fragile. You'll protect it, guard it, honor it through continued work, continued effort, continued presence. That's the contract. Unwritten but understood. Keep working. Keep existing. Keep proving you deserve to be here. And you will for another year and another, however many years it takes, until this stops feeling temporary, until America stops being new, until it's just home. Not yet, but someday. Through accumulation of years of experiences of small victories and survived challenges. Through the simple persistence of being here, of staying here, of making here work. Someday, not today, but someday. You walk on through streets. You now know past buildings that have become familiar toward a room that somehow become home. Tomorrow 6 o'clock you'll be there like always, like every day moving forward, building, surviving, existing, one day at a time, until the days add up to a life. Your life, the American life, the immigrant life, hard, uncertain, precious, yours. Winter returns, the cycle completes. You've 1 year anniversary been in Amer. Ika 1 full year. The realization comes quietly, not on the exact date, but close enough. You're lying in your room one evening, counting money, planning the next week's budget, and the thought surfaces. 1 year, 12 months, 52 weeks, 365 days. You've survived them all. Arrived, processed, found shelter, found work, learned English, built routine, endured summer heat, passed the check-in at Ellis Island, continued, persisted, made it 1 year. The milestone feels significant, worth noting, worth acknowledging. You realize you should celebrate somehow. Something small, symbolic, a marker that this day mattered. This achievement existed. The next evening after work, you stop at a bakery, a good one, not the cheapest, a place that makes special pastries, cakes, things for occasions you haven't been inside before. Too expensive, too frivolous, but tonight you enter. The smell is incredible. Sugar, butter, vanilla, all the smells of celebration and luxury and not quite necessity. Behind the counter, a woman waits. Young, pretty, she smiles. Genuine smile, not transactional. Can I help you? Yes, I want something special for celebration. What kind of celebration? You hesitate. How to explain? How to make her understand the significance of simply surviving a year. 1 year in America. 1 year today. Her smile changes, deepens, becomes warm, understanding. That's wonderful. Congratulations. That's really something. She means it, you can tell. She gets it, gets the significance, gets what you're celebrating. We have special pastries, individual cakes. What do you like? Chocolate fruit. Chocolate, please. Small one. She selects a small cake. Chocolate frosted, decorated with white icing. Simple but beautiful. She places it in a small box, ties it with string. 20 cents. Expensive, but you pay. This matters. This is worth it. Congratulations again. Truly, it's not easy. What you're doing, but you're making it. That's something to be proud of. Her words surprise you. Hit harder than expected. When was the last time someone expressed pride in you, in what you've accomplished? Usually, it's just survival, expected, required. Nothing special. But she's right. It is something. Not everyone makes it. Some give up. Some die. Some are sent back. But you're still here, still working, still building. That is an achievement. Worth marking, worth celebrating. Thank you. Thank you very much. You take the box, leave the bakery, walk slowly, carefully, protecting your purchase, your celebration, your marker of survival. Back in your room, you light the lamp. Set the box on your small table. Open it carefully. The cake sits inside, perfect, untouched, waiting. You eat it slowly, one small bite at a time, savoring, making it last. The chocolate is rich, smooth. The frosting is sweet, almost too sweet, but perfect. Exactly right for this moment. You eat half, save the rest for tomorrow. Make the celebration last 2 days. Stretch the acknowledgement, the recognition, the simple fact that you've made it 1 year. You think about what you've learned about America, about yourself, about survival, about struggle, about the strange combination of hardship and hope that defines immigrant life. You think about home, about family. They received your letters. You received responses. Careful, worried, proud, hopeful that someday you'll return. Afraid you never will. You don't know. Can't know. The future is unclear. Always unclear. You can't see beyond next week, next month. Can't plan beyond surviving, beyond maintaining employment, beyond keeping shelter. But you're here, still here. That's achievement enough for this moment, for this celebration, for this quiet recognition of having survived what many don't survive. The fire crackles somewhere in thin E-City, in thousands of buildings, in hundreds of thousands of rooms. Fires burn, people survive, lives happen, struggles continue. Everyone doing what you're doing, making it through 1 day at a time. You're part of that now, part of the great mass of humanity building lives in difficult circumstances. Part of the immigrant story, part of the American story, part of the endless human project of trying, of striving, of refusing to give up despite every reason to give up. That's what you're celebrating. Not success, not achievement in the traditional sense, just persistence, continued existence. The simple fact of being here, of making it work, of not quitting. You finish your second piece of cake, wrap the rest carefully, save it, treasure it, let it represent everything you've accomplished and everything still to do. You lie down on your bed, your familiar bed, in your familiar room in your familiar building, in a city that's becoming familiar, becoming yours, becoming home. Not there yet, but closer. After 1 year, closer. The blanket settles over you. Wool, scratchy, but warm. Yours paid for with your work, your effort, your persistence. Everything in this room, everything you own, everything you have earned, through showing up, through working, through not giving up. That's the immigrant victory. Not wealth, not status. Just this having things, having shelter, having the ability to mark 1 year and look forward to the next. You close your eyes, let sleep come. Tomorrow is Saturday, work day, like most days. But you'll go, you'll work, you'll earn, you'll continue because that's what you do now. That's who you are. An immigrant, a worker, a person building a life one day, at a time, $1 at a time, 1 year at a time. And that is something. That is everything. That is enough. And then silence. Complete silence. Not in the building. The building never falls. Silent. The sounds continue. The lives happen. The city roars. But in your mind, in your heart, in the space where anxiety and hope wage eternal battle, silence, peace, acceptance, you can hear your own breathing. Slow, deep, steady, in, out, in, out. The rhythm of life, of survival, of continued existence. The world holds its breath with you. And in that held breath, in that pause, in that moment of stillness, you understand something. You're going to make it. Not easily, not comfortably, not without struggle, but you're going to make it because you already have. For 1 year. And if you can make it 1 year, you can make it another and another, as many years as necessary until years stop counting. Until America stops feeling foreign. Until this life, this hard, this precious, this possible life becomes simply your life. Not immigrant life. Not temporary life. Not provisional life. Just life. Yours real happening. Now you stand one final time at the edge of evening. Not at the harbor, not on any the long drift into sleep physical edge, but at the edge of consciousness, where waking meets, sleeping, where effort meets rest, where today releases its grip and tomorrow waits, patient, inevitable. The room around you fades, not disappeared, just softened. The hard edges blur. The cold feels less cold. The smallness feels less confining. Everything gentles in the dimming light of the lamp. In the softening focus of your tired eyes, you breathe slow now, so slow, in, out, in, out. Each breath takes you deeper, further from the day, further from worry, further from the endless calculation of survival. The fire crackles. Yes, somewhere, always somewhere in this building, in this city, in this vast country that grudgingly allowed you entry. Fires burn, keeping people warm, keeping life possible, keeping hope alive through simple heat. You feel those fires, not physically but spire, ritually, energetically. The knowledge that you're not alone, that millions do this, have done this, will do this. The immigrant experience, the human experience, the endless project of building something from nothing. Outside, snow begins to fall. You know it without looking, feel it, sense it. The first snow of this new winter. Your second winter here. The cycle repeating but different now because you know what comes. Know you can survive it. Know that winter ends. That spring follows. That the cycle continues. The snow falls soft, silent, endless, like time, like effort, like the slow accumulation of days that becomes years, that becomes lives, that becomes history. You're part of the history now. One small thread in an enormous tapestry. Not important, not notable, just present, just existing, just persisting. And that is enough. Cold air, warm breath. The contrast never fades. Even now, even after a year, Even after countless cycles of leaving warm buildings for cold streets, of returning from cold streets to warm buildings, the contrast remains sharp, present, real. It will always remain. That's part of life here, part of the experience, part of what you'll remember years from now when this is all memory. When struggle is past, when you're telling your own children or grandchildren about the early days, about Ellis Island, about the first winter, about learning to survive, you breathe into that future, that possible future, that hoped-for future. In, out, in, out. Your body relaxes further. Muscles you didn't know were tense release. Jaw unclenches. Shoulders drop. Hands open, everything softens, everything yields, everything accepts the gift of rest. The night holds you gently, like a mother, like a blanket, like the mercy it is. The sounds of the building fade, still there, but distant, like listening underwater. Like hearing the world through layers of wah. Ram darkness. Arguments become murmurs. Footsteps become rhythms. Baby cries become lullabibbies. Everything transforms into the soundtrack of sleep. You drift deeper, quieter, further from the sharp edges of consciousness, further into the soft center of rest, where nothing is required, where no one demands, where you exist without effort, without proof, without the endless need to justify your presence. Here you just are simply, completely enough. The lights behind you grow dimmer, the fires burning low, not out, never out, but settled steady. The constant burn that requires no attention, that simply continues, that simply is like breathing, like living, like the patient progress of time. Your thoughts slow become images more than words, fragments more than sentences. The day replays in flashes, the factory, the fabric, the walking, the carrying, the endless repetition, but softer now, less sharp memory already filing it away, making room for tomorrow, for the next day, for the continuing stream. You see faces, your family, far away, across an ocean, living their own lives, missing you. Or maybe not. Maybe they've adjusted. Maybe your absence has been filled by other concerns, other necessities. Life continues everywhere. With you, without you, the world turns regardless. But you sent them money. You wrote letters. You maintained connection. That's something. That's what you can do. That's enough. You see your own face reflected in your mind's eye. Change from a year ago. Older, harder. Lines that weren't there before. Gray hairs at the temples. Hands rougher. Body leaner. The physical marks of work, of struggle, of survival. But also stronger, more capable, more confident. You know things now. How to navigate the city. How to find work. How to speak English. How to exist in America. Knowledge earned through experience, through pain, through persistence. This is who. You are now who you've become, who you're still becoming. The process isn't finished. Won't be finished for years, maybe decades, maybe never. Maybe you'll always be becoming, always learning, always adapting, always immigrant, even when the legal status changes, even when the language perfects, even when decades pass. Maybe that's okay. Maybe becoming is better than being. More honest, more true, more alive. You drift further. The philosophical thoughts fade. Too much effort, too much consciousness. Sleep pulls harder or insistently demanding surrender. Demanding rest, demanding you stop trying, stop thinking, stop doing. Just be, just sleep, just let go. And you do. Piece by piece, thought by thought, breath by breath, you let go. Release. Surrender to the mercy of sleep, to the gift of darkness, to the healing power of rest, the soft fall of snow, the distant glow of firelight, the gentle pull of sleep. All of it wraps around you, cradles you, holds you safe through the night, through the hours of darkness, through the vulnerable time when consciousness fades and dreams take over. The night knows you now, knows your rhythm, knows your needs. You've slept so many nights in this room, in this bed, under this blanket. The night has learned you, has adapted, has become your ally instead of your enemy. It protects you now, covers you, keeps you safe, while you cannot keep yourself safe, while you're vulnerable, while you're surrendered. That's trust, that's faith, that's the covenant between day and night, between effort and rest, between worker and dreamer. You've earned this rest. Through 10 hours of labor, through carrying impossible loads, through not complaining, through showing up, through persisting. This rest is yours. Paid for. Deserved. Necessary. Take it. Accept it. Sink into it. Deeper and deeper and deeper still, until there is only this darkness, warmth, breathe, sleep. The world continues without you. For these hours, for this night, it spins and churns and struggles and survives, but you're not part of it. You're separate. You're elsewhere. You're in the space between the space that has no name, the space that is pure rest. And you let yourself drift completely, finally fully, into the deepest sleep, into the most profound rest, into the mercy, into the darkness, into the peace, where nothing hurts, where everything is possible, where you're safe, where you're home, where you're enough, exactly as you are. The night holds you gently, completely forever until morning when it begins again. But for now, for this moment, for these precious hours, you rest, and that is everything.